Hello, everybody. It is me, your mom. It says that Barry was first, but I think that is a glitch because I'm pretty sure Darkiplier was first. Hello, Darkiplier. Thank you very much for being first. Either way, glad that Barry's here. Hi, Barry. And hi there, Boundary. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Amy. Hi. Amy's like, I'm ready for some bullshit. Good to see you, everybody. I like that it predicted I'd be first. Has it been doing this a lot? I think it was working yesterday, right? Oh my God. Alvis, thank you for the 4 months. And thank you very much for the 4 months.
For 4 months.
It's good to see you. I always am. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I actually have no clue if it's been working. I have no idea. I'll try to keep an eye on it next time. Sometimes what happens is Touch Portal is stupid. So yeah. Made dinner, ate dinner, mouse broken, did not work. Very frustrating. Did some investigationing. The cord for my mouse, which I used to plug it in when it dies of battery, wasn't plugged into my computer. So yesterday when I was having mouse problems, that was the problem. And then today I had mouse problems, also the problem. What did I have? I had stir fry. I had like a coconut milk lime stir fry. Yeah. Are you still hiding from the cheese chemicals? Yes. I'm sheltering myself and my family from the toxic influence of cheese chemicals. Oh yeah. The chat is way over there now. I think I have feature chat on this scene. Where's feature chat? Oh, I do have it. But where is it? Okay, let's find out together. It's over there. That's not a very good spot for it. Let us, Whoa, the mouse is still kind of angry. We'll put it like in the middle of this, right? Like there. That seems good. Ta-da! And then I just got to move my finger. Hold on, let me lock it. My precious finger. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. I don't know how much I'll use it, but I do have it. It does work. Very good. Yeah. So I have made some pretty good stir fry. Hi, Bunny. Hi, Bunny. Bunny, my beloved. Hello. I had General Tso chicken. I fucking love General Tso chicken. And you know what? I'm glad you love General Tso chicken. And I know that you love it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I ate way too much. You know what? Who gives a fuck? I mean, like, I don't want your tummy to hurt. And I know sometimes we as human beings make decisions that are bad for our tummies, but are good for our hearts. So like, I understand that you can't have General Tso chicken every single night, but I hope you enjoyed it because you deserve it. Can I brag about something? Yeah. Yeah, please do. I love to hear you guys brag. I love to hear you guys boast. I love to hear you guys celebrate a W. I love to hear when you guys are doing good. I love to hear about good news when new exciting things are happening. I love to hear about it. I am here to clap because you know what? Even though we don't like know each other, it makes me happy to know that you're happy and that you have a W. It makes my day better when you have a W because we're human beings and we, our community W's, everyone is lifted to higher W status. Yes. Yeah. As of today, I've completed every RuneScape quest. That sounds like a nightmare for me, but I'm so happy for you. I made a big-ass family-sized box and a whole cup of rice. A whole cup. Oh, like icy of like dry rice. Mix it all together and ate like half of it in one sitting. Hell yeah. And then you have half for tomorrow. Yeah, we made a huge, because his buddy and I, we make like 4 cups of rice, but then we eat it for like a couple of days. So we made a huge rice cooker full of rice. And then I made it's like a whole can of coconut milk, like a lime. I don't know what else goes in there. Soy sauce, garlic, just in time for them to release another one in 5 days. Okay, but now you're up to date. So whenever they release a new one, you just have to do the new one. Currently eating the other half. Pog. Listen, you're never going to hear me be like, you're eating too much because I eat a lot. And it brings me a lot of joy. As long as you feel nourished, that's what's most important. I support you. I support you. Also, there's vegetables in General Tso chicken. Onion is a vegetable. I have a pepper. I didn't eat all my stir fry because I freaked out halfway trying to get my mouse fixed, and that took way too long. Buddy was very helpful. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, he gave me a flashlight, and then he hoisted me off of the floor. He used his incredible strength to hoist me off the ground. As an old lady, my knees do not like to do that. I need to do... Yeah, well, no, you pulled my shoulder a little weird, but it's not bad. Like, I didn't get hurt. I just didn't put myself in an optimal place to be lifted. And then I also wasn't optimally lifted because of that. And that's not on Buddy. What else was I going to say? Yeah, I need to do more yoga. To be fair, it is the only thing I've eaten all day. Bitches do be gotta eat. I show you a treasure I found. Ooh, what is it? I'm going to... Is this... Wait. A mug someone made of Jesus cradling Polnareff. 54 cents? That's a good deal. Oh my God. Thank you for the gifted sub. If you got a gifted sub, oh, Scuba Duck. If you received a gifted sub and you're here in the studio with us tonight, please post a wiggler to show your appreciation. Thank you very much, Alvis. Bless you. Bunny, this is insane. You guys got the link. If you also want to see Jesus gently cradling Polnareff on a mug, I encourage you to view. I feel like Polnareff would be like, I think he is the higher the hair, the closer to God. Am I right, ladies? Or am I right? If Dolly's not right, I don't want to be correct. You know what I'm saying? If Dolly Parton is wrong, I don't want to be right. Hello, I saw you talking about magic. And as a Norse pagan, I gotta watch. Well, welcome. We won't get into too much Norse stuff. Luckily, thank God, this boy, we're going to talk about the author. We're going to get all into it, y'all. But thank God this man stays in his lane a little. Thank fuck for that. But I'm excited for you to be here with us today in the studio. In the studio tonight. I still can't believe that somebody would get rid of that. It's such an incredible find, honestly. Norse has a lot of, yeah, Norse is very, and also like, I feel like the Norse tradition is very strong and has like very well, not like all perfectly understood, but there are a lot of very well understood foundations to that. And a lot of people like to just say shit. Yeah. Oh, I found a YouTube boy. Oh my God. Hold on. It's in my history with Buddy because I sent it to Buddy. Nobody move. YouTube man, tell me your secrets. His name is Arith Harriger. I can't pronounce it. Arith Harriger. Arith. And I watched a video that he posted about Viking symbols. So I guess he is Norwegian and he's an occultist and he specializes in Norse occultism and pagan practices. And he has a couple of videos on his channel that I really want to watch. He's a bit sassy, but I kind of like that about him. You're right. Some people do just talk for real. Oh, and we had that last time. How you doing, Loon? Hi. How's you? You know what? Now that I know my mouse works and isn't broken, and also that I had some food, I feel much better. Does he cite sources? He does. Not enough sources, but he cites some sources. So, and when he doesn't cite his sources, sometimes he tells you where it came from anyway, like just in a roundabout way, which isn't great, but it's much better. This guy is like, compared to the last guy, this man is extremely tolerable. His shit is edible. Thank fuck for that. I'm doodling. Excellent. Sometimes it do be on the hunger thirst. So right. If you're pissed off, get yourself a glass of water. Source 2 ghost women. Okay, he's not perfect. No one is perfect. Amy. I need to be recording. Amy, no one is perfect, okay? So he talked to a couple of ghosts when he was a literal infant. Who among us has not spoken to 2 old ladies who died in our house? Hi, Zach. How you doing? First of all, I want to give a note. Can I give you my bowl, bud, and also this cup? Because they both are no longer serve me. But if you don't want to take my garbage, I understand. I did that. Freaked my mom out. Be careful with the punishment dice. Yep. Ocean Keltoi is a great source for Reconstruction Norse pagans. Buddy.
I'm going to go get juice right now.
Oh, I asked you to take these two things, but you didn't answer me. And I didn't know if you didn't hear me or if you just didn't like me anymore.
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't know if you didn't hear me or if you hate me now. Shot through the heart and you're to blame. Lurk, enjoy your lurk. I hope that your doodles turn out beautiful. I'm sure they will. I'm certain. Among Us? Yes. First of all, I have a note to make about the music, about the tunes. I didn't really explain this last time. We have talked about this before, but the music you are listening to right now is by a man named Mort Garson. Mort Garson. He is a magical, weird little man who got a hold of a synth machine, okay, and went crazy bananas mode. Let me read about the artist from Spoofy. Mort Garson boasts one of the most unique and outright bizarre resumes in popular music. During the 60s and 70s, he was a pop hitmaker, a masterful arranger, and an electronic music pioneer who influenced a remarkably wide swath of pop culture. Not only did he write some songs that you guys don't know. You guys don't know any of these people. Don't worry about it. And he's like a weird occultist. This is very long about, oh my God, it's actually so long. Anyway, he's a very interesting guy. And he got a hold of a synth machine, starts doing some weird shit, and he makes a bunch of weird occult music. So actually, this album we're listening to right now is called Music from Patchcord Productions. That's the name of the album. And it's from 2020, which I didn't even know that. You go, Mort. You probably like 73. Slay. Last time we listened to another album of his called Mother Earth's Plantasia, which is an album specifically designed with frequencies that you play to your plants so that they grow. He's that guy. We love to see it. And all the music is cool and weird. If you guys listen to Adventure Zone, he did the Adventure Zone theme. The Adventure Zone theme is Deja Vu from the album The Unexplained. Here, I'll play it for you now. Y'all know this one. Oh yeah. This is a vibe for sure. Hey, thanks for the follow, Narthians. Well, temperance. Temperance reminds you that sometimes you go through difficult things, but difficult things can make you even better. Believe in yourself, because you're stronger than you think. Yeah, this whole album is like that. Some of it is weird, like weird affectionate, and some of it is weird, scary. But it's a good album, and he's a cool guy. This album is from 1975, baby. Yeah. But we're going to listen to the new one because I like it. It's a good one. And it has a spooky, some very, actually, this album art, isn't this album art sick, bud? He can't hear me. He has noise-canceling headphones in. I was just going to show you this, but you're busy. I was just going to ask you if you think this album art is cool.
This is really sick, actually.
It's extremely sick and cool. So, yeah. We love to see it. We love the weird music. I hope you enjoy it. I just wanted to make this note because I thought it was appropriate tunes, and I thought maybe you guys were wondering where this weird, wiggly music came from, baby. I don't want to be careful with the punishment dice. I'm going to be fragrantly irresponsible. All right, bless. The art on the screen right now is extremely Elden Ring. Oh, yeah, there's a reason for that. I was going to say, thought last time it was the planned album. Last time it was the planned album. This is the good one. It is the best one on the album, to be honest. On that album, Deja Vu is the best one. It's good music. It is. Yeah, the reason why this feels extremely Elden Ring is because Elden Ring is probably the most occult game I've ever played on this channel. I played Assassin's Creed 2, 1, Electric Boogaloo. And that one has a lot of conspiracy theory nonsense, but not a lot of like occultism. Assassin's Creed 2 has like Da Vinci Code energy where it's like, ooh, it could be a cult, but it just never does anything with that, you know? Magical theory applying to whom? Everybody, baby. Everybody. You'll see. I'll give you guys a summary. I never got into Adventure Zone, but the weekly read music is fun. Adventure Zone season 1, very good. I'm sure there are other good seasons, but I couldn't get into it. But the first one, I really liked. Yeah. Even the parts where two of the brothers had to sort of like hint at a gay relationships without being too weird. There's like an NPC that one of the boys likes. And like, it's very obvious that the audience is shipping them really hard, which is fine. But the problem is that the GM is his brother. So they do this thing where they're like, and then they went on a date, moving on. Which is really kind of funny. But yeah, all the rest, it's very, very good show. Good up until they switch to different characters. I think there are a couple of different like seasons where they do, and they also rotate who's DMing. But I do think that Griffin, the babyest brother, was the best DM, in my opinion. Assassin's Creed is extremely conspiracy theory and Illuminati. They like drop it at some point. It's still in 3. But I think after that, I think Black Flag is where they start to actually be like, this is a little weird. But I didn't play Black Flag, so I don't know how Illuminati conspiracy theory it actually is. But the first one and the second one are very that. It is very like the government, mind control, chemicals in the water making the frogs gay. And that's kind of what I liked about it. And it's still kind of what I like about it. But it's really interesting. And this is not here what we're here to talk about, but what I find really fascinating about Assassin's Creed is that it kind of captures a moment in time when like conspiracy theory nonsense and like general doubt about the ethics of like Christianity were a very liberal thing that a lot of like young men were very into. It's like, it's YouTube creationist skeptic time, right? But it's also at this like peak moment where like the end of the world is 2012 sort of thing is happening. And so it's like just a very strange combination of ideas. I just wish they would have committed to the bit, but at a certain point it just got a little bit too weird and they had to drop it. They tried to like, I don't know, but I do think some of the elements of the story were really cool, even if a lot of it was kind of cringe. Anyway, in Adventure Zone, my favorite is the dad who was gay for plants. Yeah. And also his Extreme Teen Bible is very good. They keep on with the Templars and Assassins. Yeah, but do they do is there like Illuminati nonsense? Like they get rid of Desmond, right? Like there's no more Desmond. There's just like, I don't know, Aperture Science Land where there's like a bunch of booths and everybody goes at a bunch of different animuses. Abstergo. We should watch the Assassin's Creed movie. You don't remember this?
I don't remember.
I remember distinctly sitting down to watch the trailer really excitedly.
I'm autistic.
Okay. And how? What am I supposed to do with that? Don't use it as a crutch, buddy.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Okay, enjoy getting juice. There is a movie.
What kind of juice do you want?
I don't care. Whatever juice you want.
No. What kind of juice?
If I have to pick, I would pick lemonade, cherry lemonade, or raspberry, whatever. Oh, buddy, wait. The Simply Limeade is bad. Okay. All the Simply Lemonade is good, but the Limeade is bad. I was watching the trailer. I was really stoked for it. And the Animus is like a big GLaDOS arm that like comes down and like picks the guy up. So he's in like, like when people do like concepts of like a VR rig where you're like suspended so you can like run. It's like that, but he's like floating because the Animus is like attached to his body. And I remember looking at that in the trailer and being like, truly not a single good video game movie could ever possibly be made if you could fuck this up. Thank you for the lurk, Soup. I appreciate you. Yeah, your caps are very aggressive and I need you to calm down. Nah, you're good. You're good. Enjoy your lurk. Yeah. Even though I really like those Resident Evil movies, I think they're good. Anyway, before I get distracted, because I could probably talk about Assassin's Creed for way too long, Not as long as X-Men, but for a long time. Let me paint the scene. So if you guys were not here last time for Your Mom Reads a Book About Magic and Gets Kind of Pissed Off, we read the foreword to this book. Okay. So this is a book called Magic, an Occult Primer, and it's by a man called David Conway. And last week on Thursday, we read the foreword, which is by a man called Colin Wilson, who I hate. Totally forgot they made an Assassin's Creed movie. They did. Assassin's Creed was huge. It was bigger. It was indescribably massive. I imagine it's a headset that taps into your mind. Yeah. I think it had like a neck plug, vis-a-vis Ghost in the Shell. Are there fellow pagans here? Yes, I believe there are. I think we had a Norse pagan in the chat a little bit earlier. I think that also a person I don't. Yes, Nixit. I think Nixit is also pagan. I know for sure that Badger is pagan. I think we've got a couple Wiccans in the house tonight. And I am just a secular weirdo who just can't shut my mouth. There you have it. There we have it. Yes. Definitely a safe space for non-traditional religious observers here tonight. For a while, Assassin's Creed game coming out like every year. Oh, yeah. Loud secular weirdo gang. So this is a book called Magic and Occult Primer. It's by a man named David Conway. Last time we learned that David Conway is in fact a pseudonym. So his real name is not David Conway, but he is a pagan and a magus and a magician, and he has a bunch of claims about where he came from and what he's about. Colin Wilson is a nightmare. He's also an occultist. I don't like him. We complained a lot about his just like weird shit that he would not shut up about, and his wild speculation and his nonsense. And now we are finally going to move on to parts of the book that are written by the actual author, who is, as previously mentioned, way more tolerable. Way more tolerable. Jesus promised peace on earth. Onan promised an end to forest giants. You see, an end to frost giants. You see any frost giants? I don't see any frost giants. That's true. That's actually a good point. I'm atheist, but extremely supportive. So actually, this is the thing I wanted to mention. And I brought a MS Paint so I can write some notes for you guys. Where is it? Okay, so there's a couple things I want to mention, some of which we touched on last time. This is not the thing I wanted to show. Bye-bye. Some of the things we touched on last time and some things we did not, okay? So, number one, I'm going to use the typing thing because it's going to be way better. Okay, number one, right? The first thing I want to mention is we are not here to criticize anybody's deeply held spiritual beliefs. You're valid, bestie. So, I just want to put it out there. I don't think anybody necessarily thinks that, but I am not here to say whether anybody's spiritual beliefs are true or real or safe or anything like that. I think all of that is very subjective, and it depends on a lot of stuff. Except for maybe Colin, who can suck ass, but he's dead. So, Colin, bestie, your deeply held spiritual beliefs are valid, but you should have shut up while you were alive. But now you're dead, so rest in peace. Hope you got what you wanted. So I just wanted to say that because I think it's important. This book is going to touch on, so you can consider this a mild content warning. We're not really going to get into organized Christian religion in any detail, but this book is going to touch on various Christian religious concepts. It's going to touch on some Jewish religious concepts and particularly some Jewish mysticism. And it's also going to talk about just general weird magic shit. So something to keep in mind. There are also going to be some problematic words and phrases that you should be aware of. There is going to be at least one disparaging remark made about Native American folks. And for that, I apologize. The boy is white, and it is 1964 when he's writing this. So that's not an excuse, but it is true. So there you have it. The second thing I wanted to mention was that I am not an occult expert. I am not an expert. I am an expert in some areas. I do consider myself an expert in terms of like computational data analysis, certain types of subatomic particle research, but not in this. So I just wanted to mention that because some of the people last time mentioned that it kind of felt lecture-y, and I don't think that's bad. Like, I don't think that's a problem, and I don't think that anybody was implying that I'm like teaching you guys this stuff, but I'm reading this book and I'm giving you my reaction to it. But there are people who are much more knowledgeable in occultism and Western occultism and occult theory and ancient magic practice and all that kind of stuff. So there are things that I may get wrong, and I don't want you guys to assume that I'm telling you how it is for real. So just keep that in mind. I will try my best to earmark places where I'm talking about stuff I definitely do know about, because the boy is going to touch on some of the shit that I do know about, and I will try to specifically point out when I don't know something for sure, but just so that you guys can stay critical, because I think that's important. And the last thing I wanted to mention was there are going to be two types of claims in this text. Two types of claims. And I wanted to take a minute to identify the difference between them, because I think it is helpful when we are reading this text both actively and like critically. I don't know if what I said came off as invading others' beliefs. No, I think you're doing good, Boundary. Everyone in chat has been extremely respectful and very kind and very open, and it's been really great to see. So I appreciate all you guys. I don't think anybody in chat needs to be too worried. And you know what? If somebody says something that makes you feel some type of way, don't hesitate to just mention it. Basically, all the regulars are very polite. And I'm sure that if they have accidentally said something that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that they would be happy to learn and grow from that moment and offer, you know, some understanding and validation in that regard. So yeah, but so far, everybody's been extremely chill, which is great. He wrote it in the 60s, but it still has the 1860s in his heart. Amy. Shots fucking fired. Hi there, Jessa. How you doing? Commercials got me. I'm sorry, baby. Commercials will be over soon. Here, let me put on some lip balm and take a sip of water. Okay. What's up, girl? Nothing. You know. Just getting ready to complain. Okay, so there are going to be two types of things that David Conway is going to talk about. Okay? So the first thing he's going to talk about are beliefs. I can't spell. So if I don't spell something right, just don't worry about it. I think that's right. Because in Beliebers, the I is before the E. And how could that be wrong? Okay, so he's going to talk about beliefs, and he's going to talk about truth claims. Okay? Spelling is legit hard. It is. And also I have a brain disease. It makes it hard for me. So you have to be nice to me. Okay. So beliefs are things that are not provable. Okay? Beliefs are not things that have evidence, right? Beliefs are things that are in your heart, that are cultural, that are spiritual, but are not testable. And in a very real sense, they're not meant to be testable. Okay? So an example of a belief is that the nut god made peanuts. Stick with me, folks. Okay, this is going to pay out. I swear to God, it's going to work out. Okay, so like a good example of a belief is the belief that the god of nuts made peanuts. I can't test that. There's no factual claim here. No. This is your vibes, and that's totally fine. Okay, and then there are truth. Okay. And then there are truth claims. Truth claims are testable statements of fact, air quotes. Okay. So like your boy is trying to say something factual and it's a testable claim, right? testable, factual. Okay. Whether it is really factual is something knowable. Okay. So a good example of a truth claim is peanuts are nuts, which in fact they are not. I have a giant chest bound to this button, the minus button, and I'm supposed to press it when somebody joins the Patreon because we're supposed to get an alert, and I just never unbound it, and I almost never press that button when we're live. So I'm not going to fix it right now. We're just going to have the chest some time. Shout out to the Nuts God. Nuts Gone, the Nuts God. So like, this is not meant to like make light or like make fun of any sort of like spiritual practice or belief or understanding. This is just meant to like illustrate the difference between these two statements. And I hope, is there anybody in chat who does not understand the difference between these two things? Because we're going to encounter, he is going to, in the first chapter, part of the reason why I'm mentioning this now is because in the first chapter, he is going to make a bunch of claims, and some of them are going to be testable and some of them are not going to be testable. So we're going to have to look at some of them in a framework of like, does this like, is this an internally consistent logic of how magic is supposed to work? And some of it we're going to have to look at is like, is that science? Because he's going to start by talking about what he called natural law, which is essentially physics and all that kind of stuff. So I hope this makes sense. So those are basically all my disclaimers. We're not here to shade anybody for their beliefs. This is a safe spot. I'm not an expert in occultism. I'm just curious. We're here to talk about it together. And these are the two types of claims that we're going to encounter. And these are the two types of things that we should be keeping an eye out for. I think it makes sense. Okay. I don't have anything else to say about that. If you guys don't have questions, then I think we should go forward. Okay. So let's go to the table of contents really quick, because I want to mention where we're going to be at. Okay, so last time, I'm ready. Very good. So we did the forward by Colin. We're leaving him in the past. We're going to talk a little bit about his claims about David Conway in a minute, though. And then we are going to do the introduction, and hopefully by the end of the stream, we'll get to chapter 3. Hopefully. So last time when we were reading the foreword, at the very end, David is explained in a little bit of detail. And so these are just helpful things to keep in mind. I'm just going to brush over them very quickly for people who weren't here yesterday. Some of the claims made about him is that he is Celtic, that he's a Welshman, and Colin wants us to know that Celts are mystical. Okay. That he has many experiences of the occult starting from when he was a baby. Okay. Including this whole situation with the ghost. You got to go check the VOD if you want to know about that. I cannot explain it to you in detail right now. It'll drive me insane. We also have we find out that David Conway is a pseudonym, that he claims to be the 7th son of a 7th son. That's in here somewhere. I don't remember exactly which line it's on. He claims to have learned magic from this guy named Mr. James Plinlimmon. It is an interesting claim for sure, Jessa. It is certainly a claim. These are all, if you're a person who's trying to act like an authority about magic, these are some very convenient things if they turn out to be true, right? Found out that the angsting teams of women have their period of telekinesis. Yes, according to Colin Wilson, that's true. Listen. So he's claimed to learn magic from this farmer who was a herbalist, who was trained in herbal law and did herbal magic and actually cured people with his herbal remedies. Okay, I mean, I can believe that. But then he goes on to say that he met this guy when he was like 4 or something, when he was very, very young, and that he started reading occult books when he was 7. Okay. And then at some point he sort of gives up on magic and he goes to college. And then while he's at college, he decides that he's going to write this book that we're reading right now. That's the history. So like important things, he's the seventh son of a seventh son. He's been having occult experiences forever. He learned magic from a farmer guy. He started reading occult texts when he was 7, and then he went to college, and now he's writing this book. So I say that this book was written in the 60s because it came out in the 70s. And he said that he was like, he said in interviews and stuff that he was like 20 when he wrote this. So that's my logic.
Space Panda
hey, Space Panda, how was your stream? Hello there. Hello there. How was Tears of the Kingdom? I hope you had a good stream. I hope you had a good stream and a good time. Thank you for visiting. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for the raid. Raiders, we are talking about some magic shit. And I'm just giving everybody the run up. I'm giving everybody the run up. Yes, baby. Fought a hard boss. Well, congrats. If you need to do some lurking after your stream, please do, but you're welcome to hang out and chat and vibe with the homies and vibe with me. Yeah, which one? Tell us. The desert one? Oh, I don't know anything about that, but it sounds hot. So yeah. Perhaps the hardest. Oh, damn. Well, proud of you. Proud of you for your excellent success. I recommend vibing. Well, thank you. Okay, so let's get into the introduction. So the introduction, from here on out, everything is written by David Conway, and we're never going to hear from Colin Wilson again. Rest in peace. So in the introduction, he's going to give us some background. I'm not going to get into any of this in any particular detail because it's not super important, but I'm going to touch on a couple of things. Every time I died, I hit my hand on the desk. Oh no, I'm sorry. I hope you didn't hurt your hand. David mentions that there's recently been a lot of occult conversation, that there's been a whole bunch of occult books that have been put out. And he sort of says, oh yeah, everybody's really stoked about it, but nobody is writing books that are introductory, like the one I'm writing. I think I'm a little skeptical of that, but there you have it. Tattle's first boss, she had to leave and come back later. Oh no. Zelda Elden Ring. Yeah, I've heard something like that before. It seems like it has some Elden Ring vibes, except for that you can torture little Koroks. So rude. So let me see. There's a couple of things I want to specifically mention. So he mentions here a couple of things about the thinking in science and how it's different from the thinking in occultism that I find kind of annoying. So he mentions that people should be figuring things out for themselves and doing their own research, which is fine. And then he says basically that scientists don't want you to think that there are things that we don't know. Specifically, he says, however, only since the development of experimental science has it had to contend with a widespread belief that nothing exists out of our empirical experience. So what he's saying is that science is telling you that there are not things beyond your 5 senses, which is not true. So I don't know why people say this a lot. I think it's interesting to point out because this is something that people bring up all the time. And I find it frustrating and confusing because nowhere do scientists say that there are things that you cannot see, hear, touch, smell, feel, measure that are real. And also so are you telling, but what was the analogy I was going to give? I was the alien people do this all the time. So there are things out there we don't understand, but then they are telling you what it is. They're making a claim about what specifically it is that's out there that we don't understand. They are telling us it's aliens. So just a very weird claim. So I thought it's worth mentioning that this is what he thinks, because I think it puts some of his claims about science into perspective. Moth, you're doing a masterclass? We're reading a book together. I'm summarizing this book that I read, and we're talking about it. That's a take I've heard a lot and never fails to piss me off. It's just weird. I'm not even, I can't even bother to be annoyed by it anymore because I just don't get it. Method of science with goal of religion has come up as a definition of magic. Questioning is kind of baked into the scientific method, literally. And also, like, I don't know. The difference is that I think what happens to a lot of spiritual types is they deal with people like Ramsey, who says, hey, can you prove it? And then they'll be like, no, obviously not. And then skeptics will be like, if you can't prove it, then how do I know that you're telling the truth and you're not just making it up? And they'll be like, are you calling me a liar? And then skeptics will be like, yes. And then they get really pissed off and they run off. Do you know what I mean? And that's the conversation. They're like, oh, they don't think I'm telling the truth. It's like, I don't know, dude. You told me that you can read minds. You told me you could bend spoons. Do it then. So yeah, I think they encounter situations like that and then they get annoyed and they're like, scientist doesn't want to know anything that's outside of their own, If scientists can't measure it, they don't care. It's like, they do. They just don't care about things you made up, dog. So there you have it. Air apparently doesn't exist to them. Oh boy. So anyway, so that's just something to keep in mind. He says some shit about Columbus here. I'm not even going to read it. You can read it if you want. I'm too annoyed. I have a citation note here. At the turn of the century, interest in the occult was dominated by spiritualism. I'm pretty sure this is true, but I put citation needed because citation is needed. Spiritualism. Okay. So, you know what I'll mention too? So pink is like a truth claim. Purple is an opinion and blue is a procedure. It's like instructions. If you see these little C primes, that's I need you to cite your source, sir. And then everything that's just my thoughts are in pink. Like, for example, here I thought, literally no, who says that? There you have it. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is accurate. And I'm pretty sure everything he says here is pretty accurate in terms of like the history of spiritualism and occultism, but he should have cited a source. Essentially, spiritualism it sort of comes from this idea that you can contact your dead loved ones. Think about like mediums with crystal balls, seances, spirit photos. That's the kind of situation. End of Civil War-ish times in America is the spiritualism peak. It has a very interesting history, but there you have it. Okay. He talks a little bit about his opinion about what counts as supernatural and what's going on right now. So he says, the supernatural is a dimension that is inaccessible to our senses, which is weird because later he is going to make our senses exactly how we experience it. So put a pin in that because it's going to come back later. He says that we are currently in the age of Aquarius. Does anyone in chat, do any of you Zoomers know what the age of Aquarius is? Like electromagnetism and radiation? He's talking about the astral plane, babes. He is talking about the astral planes. No, Space Panda does not know what the age of Aquarius is. Does anybody? Bunny might know. Sounds familiar, but no clue. There is a song. The age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius. I was doing research into it, but I was like, ugh. Nope, Amy doesn't know. I'm actually surprised that Amy doesn't know. Okay. Yeah, the song here, I can actually play you guys some of the song. It's kind of a good song. Age of Aquarius, bro, not the age of pleasure. Where'd that come from? Here, let's go to the middle. Like a 5-minute song. You get the vibe. You get the vibe. This is from the album The Fifth Dimension. Oh no, I think the artist is The Fifth Dimension. Yeah, the artist is The Fifth Dimension, and I think the album is called The Age of Aquarius. It is. Yeah. You get the vibes, okay? So the idea of the age of Aquarius is that, like, isn't it like an astral sign? Yes, Aquarius is an astral sign. It is a zodiac sign. Never heard this song. It's an old song, to be fair. It's a disco song. Probably a lot of your parents probably hate disco. Either that or they're my age and they listened to Backstreet Boys. And if that's true, then I'm kind of upset. But we're not going to go there. So the age of Aquarius is this idea that we're like entering we're entering the most magical timeline. I listened to that as a kid. It's good. My parents listened to Metallica. Then you probably didn't hear this song very much. Maybe, but yeah. So like this is a thing you hear spiritual people say all the time. The idea that like we're entering the most magical era, the most important era. The things are happening. The things are coming. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The alien people will be like, the aliens will contact us soon. The Christians will be like, Jesus is coming back any minute. It's very that. It's like, just like nebulous, crazy shit is right on the horizon. And any minute it's going to start happening and everybody's going to go ape shit. It's like that. So there's a lot of like, in the 70s and early 80s, there's a lot of like indigo children, sensitive children are being born because the veil between worlds is thin and blah, 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 that kind of shit. So he doesn't talk about the age of Aquarius a lot, but I think that kind of thinking, it's consistent with the vibes. You know what I mean? It's consistent with the vibes. I'm not that old. My parents listened to everything. There you have it. I know what this one is actually. Yeah, you probably heard about it, but you might not have like heard it named. Hi there, Hive of Malicious. Hello. And thank you for cute. I assume you're talking about me. And for that, I say thank you very much. Entering your girl boss era. Very that. Out of all eras, the one in my lifetime is going to matter the most. Wow. Weird that everybody says it just like that. Literally this. Spirit science types like to be like, humans have lost all their magic, but now the age of Aquarius is approaching and we're going to reconnect it. Yes, it is that. It's like some people have like a more specific idea. They're like, ooh, we used to be like connected with the Fae or the star children from space or the Atlanteans or whatever the fuck. And, you know, Aquarius as a star sign is like very connected to like mystical shit, you know, secrets, hidden knowledge. So they're very into that whole thing, you know? So, but yeah, so that's the energy. That's where we're at with this statement. And then he says, the most effective way of contacting the supernatural reality. Oh, wait. Okay. I'm going to start from the beginning of the paragraph. In this book, we shall examine the theory and practice of ritual magic. So ritual magic is magic with steps. If you play D&D, you already know about ritual magic. Ritual magic is I have to set up, I have to have materials, I have to read the book, right? Such a book is, in my view, important because magic is said to offer the most effective way of contacting the supernatural reality that we have been discussing. So what he's saying is ritual magic is the way to do it. It is the best and most effective and easiest to understand way to connect with magic shit. Okay. I say, is there another way? He does not mention another way. I mostly just know star signs from fairy tale anime. All right. That might be helpful, but I don't know how they explain it in that anime. I heard you're reading that good shit. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Hi there, Lord Zemosa. Hello. In D7D, there's a form of magic with material components. Oh, D&D. Yeah. Makes me think of technology. Yeah. So like in third edition, it was very like you have to have X amount of people and they need to be channeling this and they need to be doing that. And then you could do like beyond level 9 spells. It's very that. Also, hello there, Uncle Jimmy's basement. The other way is anal. Oh my God. He really said that. Uncle Jimmy. We're not supposed to talk about anal. Anal's too powerful, you guys. Don't try it. It'll open your third eye way too wide. In the anime, star signs are the name of magic keys that summon monsters. Yeah, we will not. Okay, Colin talked a little bit about astrology. We're not going to talk about it like a lot. It's sex magic is powerful. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. How are you going to be a magic freak? Too strong, for real. Deceased. We won't talk about astrology a lot, but if it comes up, I'll try to add some context. So he mentions that ritual magic has long been considered superstitious by people who already think magic is fake. Basically, everybody who agrees that magic can be done in any form, okay, for any purpose, agrees that ritual magic makes some kind of sense. Not everybody wants to do it. Okay, weird for him to assert that, but there he is. And then he says, as an exercise of this sort has, to my knowledge, not been undertaken. So he's basically saying no one has ever tried to write a book like the one I'm writing right now, which is an introductory text, to which I respond, it dev has, but okay, like it definitely has. But if he thinks that he's the first, who am I? He's the seventh son of the seventh son, and he talked to ghosts, but he was a baby. Who am I to tell him he's incorrect? What if they are the sex magic? Like lighting candles. Oh no. Who's your boy? David Conway. This book is called Magic and Occult Primer. Yes. Yes. Earlier, we discussed it in a little bit more detail. So if you'd like more context about like what the book is and what's happening, then later on, I would check the beginning of the VOD. You're not missing that much context, but I talk a little bit about him and where he's from and all that kind of stuff. Lord of the BS elitism. He's like trying to be like, oh, everybody can learn and I'm explaining it. And like in his defense, like there are a lot of white boys who are out here like, oh my God, you can't do it like me. I'm so different and I'm so special. So like at least he's acknowledging that people can learn to do the thing that he does. Lord of all the cum wizards, Mr. Aleister Crowley himself. Aleister loved to write books in just the stupidest, most annoying way possible. He loved to just be like, oh, you want to learn magic? Oh, does the boy want to learn magic? Oh, fuck the kid. He annoys the shit out of me. That's my personal problem, though. He's very influential. Oh, my God. White boys are built different. White boys literally built different. And this is, listen, if you like white boys and you like them to be quirked up and you love them to have some bullshit to talk about, occultism is for you, baby. He was in the cum zone. You're trying to, you're so right for that. There is one thing I can say about Mr. Crowley for sure. And that is, I will literally never get as much pussy as he got. Wizards in 2023. I need to keep my cum inside my body or I can't do magic. Wizards in 1923. If I don't get this cum out of my body, I'm never going to be able to do magic. It's serving very that. I hate it here. The question is, did he file his teeth down into points, though? Maybe he did. A freaky freak who likes to freak. I'm at that peak. Bringing back classical magic, baby. Classical magic as in, girl, if we don't hook up, I'm not going to be able to do my rituals later. That classic riz. Takes a lot of confidence to have orgies all day and then try to sell books about how that makes you magical to people. Oh, girl. To be fair, in a lot of his books, he was like, oh, you guys would hate orgies. There's so much work. Don't even bother. That would hurt like hell. Really, it would. Magic of Vag was too powerful. True. Put the women in chastity belts. The pussies are too strong. Can't see me, but I'm pretending to ring a giant bell. Okay, so in this paragraph, he's gonna can't summon Beelzebub on blue balls, baby. That's a fucking t-shirt. That is a commemorative t-shirt right there. this whole paragraph, he's like, oh, some people shouldn't do magic. Like, if you're not chill, then don't even fucking try. This is a disclaimer, essentially. He's like, oh my God, if you're like really mentally ill or already schizophrenic or whatever, you probably shouldn't do magic. And to be honest, I don't disagree. If you struggle with dissociation, a lot of magic is going to make your problem way worse. So like, that's true. Yeah. So, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to explain to you how to do occultism, and it's going to be so chill and so cool, and I'm very cool, and you're going to be very cool, and everybody's going to have a good time. So that's the introduction. It's not so bad. He doesn't really make a lot of claims in here that are crazy. It's like pretty readable and chill, and it does capture the tone of the rest of the book. So I'm not going to get into anything else here, but this is the vibes. So, does anybody have questions about the introduction before I move on? What other notes did I leave? That's it. Not that many notes, and only 2 citations. In 5 pages, I only demanded 2 citations, which so far, compared to the foreword, is very good. What crazy claims so far? So far, he hasn't really made any crazy claims. So far, his claims have been very grounded and chill. He hasn't really said a whole lot, though. You were thorough. Thank you. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Is it magic or mental health? I mean, if anybody tells you that magic will help your mental health, you should get basically as far away from them as you're physically capable. Yeah, here's what I wrote. Notes on this page. Bad bitch slay. Bad bitch alert. And I agree with myself from the past. He's got a compass. He's got a globe, many baby angels, a Durgan or a lion, Sagittarius on the skirt, fancy shoes that maybe have a mermaid on them, moons and suns. He's in a field. There's a fancy building behind him. He's got a book on his arm. How much more magic can you get than this bitch? Literally no one. Bitch did slay. Left no crumbs. True. Banger image, quality fit. What can I say? She ate 10s, 10s, 10s across the board. So that's that on that. That's all I have to say. Next news. Welcome back, buddy. A gift.
Close your eyes in preparation for receiving the gift.
Okay, I've closed my eyes. I am holding out my 2 hands. Okay, I will hold my hands against.
Examine it. There are 2 distinct parts to it. You'll probably recognize the upper part. The question is the lower part. So go ahead and.
If this turns out to be an alive animal, I'm going to be very upset.
It is not alive, but it is an animal.
It's a plant.
Yes.
It is. There's a plant on top. Crab shaped. Okay, I'm detecting tail. Is this part a tail?
That part is a tail.
And these are feet.
Those are little feet, and he's got ones in front too.
Is it a cat?
No. A water cat, maybe.
Axolotl? Oh my God, it's an axolotl. Oh no! Buddy, he has Down syndrome.
I walked right past him and I saw him and I thought of you. I thought I was going to just take a picture of him and I was like, no, I have to bring him home.
Oh my God. And he has a live plant in him.
Yes, a live succulent.
Wow, he is
so wide.
Wide and fat. Wow. Can you find a spot to take a picture of him for Discord?
I will.
Thank you so much for this gift. He's special. And we're going to take very good care of him. Oh, man. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this very excellent moment. Sounds naughty. It did, but it's okay. I have those same shoes. Oh, do you? Slay. Here, I'll bring up the magic guide while we talk about this. Symbolic density sure seems to be a classic trait. Surely it is. Got to carry the mooms of the floating orb. True. I think this is on a stand. Like, I think he's got like a think he's got like a little stand. Okay. Okay, look forward to it later on the Discord. I'll post pictures of the axolotl. I'm very confused about what you mentioned about magic not helping mental health. I thought the whole point was to give a framework to better understand the world around you. I legit don't know anything. Okay, I will explain. Not to let people sell you as cure. That is definitely part of it. Okay, so part of being mentally ill is being disconnected from reality, okay? Is having some part of the way you are viewing the world is not representative of the way the world really is. Sometimes that manifests as like looking at your body and not seeing it accurately. Sometimes that manifests in having negative thoughts about yourself that are not reflective of what's really going on. Sometimes that is having anxieties that do not reflect real danger that you're in, right? Obviously, this is not all of mental health, but a lot of it is that, right? And when you do, that's got to get fixed. Either that or I need to use a different dash. So when you do magic, a lot of times what's going on is you are trying to actually separate yourself from your physical body. You with me? Maybe more accurately is from tangible reality. Tangible spelling. This is Mort Garson. And if you search for Mort Garson on Spoofy, you'll get it. We talked about that at the top of the stream also. Morty. Let's go. So this is not all magic. A lot of Wiccan rituals are not like this, but this is just something you should be aware of when you're encountering magic, is that ritual magic and a lot of like meditative practices, like some of them are actually trying to actively remove you from your immediate tangible surroundings so that you can make a connection with something else, right? So like sometimes you're trying to connect with a spirit or an angel or a demon or whatever. Sometimes you're trying to experience other planes of existence, like all this kind of stuff. But these kinds of rituals are often exercises to a certain extent in like dissociation, right? Sometimes there are breathing exercises that change like how oxygenated your brain is, which sounds kind of scary, but it's like fine to do as long as you have the informed consent to understand what this is going to actually do to you, right? And because a lot of occultists are trying to explain the like magical theory behind what they're doing, they don't do a good job of explaining to you what it's going to do to your real brain, right? So something to keep in mind. Here, I'm going to feature this guy. I will say, after I got out of the mental ward, Norse paganism was part of my healing. I did go to therapy more and worked with my therapist, and she recommended that I use my paganism as a tool and not a cure. Yeah, I think that's extremely valid. I have some shit to say about Wiccans. Listen, we can acknowledge that there is a way to ethically and empathetically practice Wicca. And we can also say that there are a lot of people who choose not to do that. Not everybody. Wicca is very wide and varied. A lot of people have their own feelings, but there are definitely people who don't give a fuck. I'm an autistic. I can dissociate at will. Yeah, and that like can like if you're using magic to try to ground yourself, it can be like a problem because sometimes it doesn't do that. So to pull something outside of the realm of corporeal reality and have it affect something in the material world. Sometimes. Is this a specific track? We're listening to his most recent album. So we're listening to, it's called Patchcord Productions is the name of the album. Music from Patchcord Productions. So yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. So when I say that like magic is bad for your mental health, I don't really mean that it's like bad for you, that it's like going to hurt you. I really do not think that most magicians are going to actively tell you shit to like fuck your life up. But just keep in mind that a lot of magic practitioners are not thinking about you, and they're not really thinking about your mental health when they set this shit up. They're thinking about how to do whatever magical mumbo jumbo they want to do. And sometimes that can be bad for you. You can imagine, I think logically, if you're a person who experiences auditory hallucinations, sitting alone in a quiet room, trying to connect to an interdimensional being might exacerbate that for you. So yeah. So it's not something to be terrified of. It's just something to keep in mind, you know? Yeah. If you're doing some kind of magical practice and it's making you uncomfy or unhappy or whatever, like magic is about you. You don't have to do it, and you should avoid it if it makes you unhappy. Yeah. Also, don't listen to people who are trying to sell you cures who don't have any fucking credentials and don't know what the fuck they're talking about, okay? Like, I hate to say it, but if somebody comes up to you and says that they're going to I saw a TikTok from a lady who was like, oh, are you chronically ill? Changing your state of mind can fix it. No, it can't. No, it can't. No matter how different your state of mind is, your IBS will not be cured by that alone. I'm sorry. Can you like change your diet? I'm sure that would help a lot, but just like thinking positively is not going to manifest a cure for like your fibromyalgia. Like, yeah. So, and there's a lot. Oh my God. I've got a goiter. I hate to say this, but there are going to be a lot of especially older, think like 1984 to like 2007 books that are going to say things like, oh, autism isn't real. People are not autistic. They're just sensitive to the barrier between dimensions. Ooh. And that's also not true. Neurodivergence is real. Yeah, and it's not sensitive. Magic. Yeah.
I'm very sensitive. You're correct.
What are you the most sensitive to, buddy?
Probably like way too much sound.
Crunchy noise makes me die. Oopsie. Too many smells in this room. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you that your autism is some sort of magic space bullshit. Please, I swear to God.
My own thoughts?
Oh, mine? We're gonna actually, this is gonna become relevant later too. So, yeah. I have a corporeal in Pokemon. If you add gods in your practice, it gets a lot more hectic. That's true, but also there's a way to connect with spirits and gods and all kinds of stuff without it being like unhealthy for you. Can't help but do my own thing. There you have it. It's bad to rely on it to fix your mental health, but from the sound of it, it's meditative, which can help. It depends, but you just have to be aware. Like, you just have to be aware that if they're telling you to dissociate, and dissociating is bad for you, you shouldn't do it. So it's up to you whether that specific practice is going to work for you. But at the end of the day, everything is not going to work for everybody, and everything is not going to be dangerous for everybody. My self-care shadow work, usually suggested first. Yeah, like for example, a great cleansing ritual is just to clean your house. Spiritual versions of it works on my machine. Exactly. I've had people try to sell me shit like that. Like, no, thank God. Weed helps my IBS a lot. See? Try weed before you try positive thinking.
And homeopathy.
Weed helps a lot of my pain issues. There you have it. Oh, good example. Weed helps Buddy a lot. Would you say that's accurate, Bud?
Yeah.
Weed makes me go scared and worried, and it's not good. So I don't do that.
Don't do that.
I don't do that. We are two different humans. People are going to jump in and try to take advantage. True. Wonder why neurodivergence keeps getting more and more common. Oh my God. Maybe. It's almost like they were all autistic to begin with and you just refused to diagnose anybody. I am going insane. Guy on YouTube called the Autistic Oracle. Oh my. That makes me concerned. So my autism is the only thing is the only reason I can astral project. Weed makes my heart beat fast. So that could be concerning. Weed is different for everyone. I hate when people try to push it as a cure. Lord Zemos, if you have any, you see question marks, and let me know if I can help clarify anything for you. Let me sit.
Don't let people pressure you into anything you're not.
Yeah, if it's something that you want to try and you think it might help. The good news is, if you do some weed and you don't like it, you could just not do it anymore.
Anecdotally, I know that it helps a lot of people.
But he says, anecdotally, it helps him a lot, and he knows a lot of people who it also helps. Hello there, Seth the Wizard. How are you doing? Welcome back. We're doing some magic shit today.
I don't encourage anyone to break the law.
Yeah, but I think most of you don't have to break the law to do weed. But I don't know.
Don't.
Weed is different for everyone, but I definitely think people should try extremely small dose just to see. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And also, hopefully, as it becomes legal in more places, more people can like try it without feeling weird. Try and write it on a notebook. Take your time. Do what you got to do, Seth. You're all good. Hopefully, you enjoy the stream in the meantime. Hello there. Ooh, I got a little burp. Hello there to Love a Mermaid. How you doing? I got some lemonade. Some people just get anxiety attacks from it. Yeah, that's me. Got my medical card a while ago. Street weed be scary. Yeah, that's valid. That's extremely valid. Shall we begin? Shall we get into it? All right, folks. So we're going to go into the first part of the book. Let me check. Let's look at the table of contents again. That'll help us ground ourselves where we're at. So we're here in part 1, and part 1 is all about theory. So we are going to hopefully talk about natural law, the universe, and hopefully we'll also have time for the world and the magician. Yes, yes, yes. Legal-ish, I guess. Wink. I'm not going to tell anybody what you're doing. There was a study done that if you do too much or something, you're risking psychosis before the age of 40. I think if you're under the age of 21 and your brain is still squishy, you should probably avoid it. Yeah, and then he's going to go, okay, part 2 is specifically about ritual doing. So he is going to actually literally give instructions for specific rituals. And we are going to talk about that. But today we're sticking firmly in part 1. We're going to hopefully get to chapter 3. That's the plan, babes. It's too late, I'm going to tell. 25 plus? Yeah. Be careful with your brain meat.
Yeah, it's important.
It is importante. You need it. Your brain stops developing in 25, so 25 and over is really best. It is best.
For the thinking.
Yes. Not everybody does everything correct, but should be careful. Jessica, do you have anything? If you're confused about anything, it is better to ask a question with more details rather than put a question mark, because I might, by the time I see your question mark, it might have been a little bit since I said whatever you were confused about. Just letting you know. Share DNA with bananas? That is factual. I am a banana. Yes. Also, I am also a banana. This book is called Magic, an Occult Primer. Okay. So in this context, natural law is like laws of scientific, understanding. So like the law of gravity would be a natural law. And so in this book, in this section, in this chapter, he is going to try to give us some context for magical ideas grounded in scientific reality. And he's going to do this because he believes that magic is explainable by natural law and that they are connected. That basically magic is a fundamental reality of where we exist, of existence, and natural law is also part of that. And so, they must therefore work together, essentially, which is like pretty salient. It's like not crazy to say that if magic is real, gravity is also real. So I guess it makes sense. Psychologists or therapists, I've been studying that people are maturing slower. Like 20s are the new adolescents. Is that right? I don't know a whole lot about that. But I do know that I'm tired all the time. So if that's relevant to anybody, let me know. So, yeah. How old am I? I'm 32. Rip. If you're tired all the time, maybe check your iron. Oh, I definitely am low on iron, you guys. I'm like a lady, and also I'm vegan. But I do take a B12, usually. If you're vegan, please take a B12 supplement. With the advent of the internet and readily accessible knowledge and info, more younger people seem wiser and deeper than ever. Yeah, but I will say that they are less socially mature in some circumstances, anecdotally. And that's not necessarily bad, in my opinion. But I have I've observed that a little bit. But we can maybe get into that another time. I don't know a whole lot about that in like a technical sense. I don't know what the psychologists are saying. You know what I mean? Gravity's like attracts like in a physical way. Physics and some magical thinking can kind of match. Yeah, and he's going to go over that a little bit. Yeah, I think it's important to remember that young people sometimes need access to resources, even resources that we think are outside of their normal maturity level. And so it's important to make sure that even if we do think that people lack certain adultness, that they are still able to survive and get the things that they need. So, but yeah, again, I don't want to get too much into that because I don't know a whole lot about it. So the first thing he's going to say is that magic is not just things you can't explain, right? So he says the word magic is commonly applied to any effect that has no observable cause, right? And I say, is that not how you're using it? Because earlier, remember in the introduction, what he says essentially is that science doesn't want us to have things that we don't understand, and that if it's not measurable, they don't care, and that magic covers all of that stuff. So it's a little weird for him to make this assertion, but he goes on to say, one of the distinctions between the magic our book is about, so the book we're reading now, and party tricks of this sort is that in the former, the causes responsible for certain effects escape even the wisest among us. So he's saying sometimes you're going to be able to do things. I'm going to explain to you how to do things in this book, and there is not going to be an explanation for how they work. He says these causes exist, of course, but they owe nothing to the physical laws of our everyday world. So even though the physical laws are important and real, they do not govern these magical things we are going to be able to do in these rituals. Okay. So far, he's making very few truth claims. He's saying this, which is a truth claim, and he doesn't cite this idea from anywhere. So I don't know if he's supposed to be claiming that it came only from him. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Let me check what's going on in chat. Can we do a history live stream? History is not so much my area, unless we are talking about magic and occultism in history. But yeah, that's not so much the thing I do here. Driver's license, jobs. Yeah, exactly. There are teenagers who need to rent an apartment. Like there are 16-year-olds who need an apartment because they cannot live with anybody. And there needs to be a pathway for them to do that, even though they normally wouldn't be able to sign stuff on their own, things like that. Young people are starting to want different lives. That might be true too. Yeah, it might just be that like the boomers don't get it. Yeah, chat might be a little bit off topic. I think this is an interesting thing for sure, but yeah, I think this is an interesting idea, but I don't know a whole lot about it, so I can't comment on it. I don't blame them either. Yeah, I agree with that. So you guys with me so far here in the book? Okay, enjoy your lurk, Jess. I appreciate you. Yeah, not to like say that we can't talk about specific stuff, but I do want to keep the stream a little bit on track. You know what I mean? So I would encourage you guys, if you have stuff if there are conversations you want to continue that are interesting and chill, then you can definitely continue in the Discord server. And to be clear, I think everybody's been pretty chill so far, which I appreciate. So yeah, so he's making basically two claims here, that magic is not governed by physical laws, okay? And also that it is not just stuff that we can't see, okay? Sure. And this idea is gonna come up a lot in chapter 1. Yeah. Okay, Nightbot, I just put the Discord link. You don't need to do it again. He also so this is something that's a little bit annoying. It's like not so bad, but he kind of tries to act like we're having a conversation in some parts of the book. So in this paragraph, he talks a little bit about like whether magic is just like fake and whether skeptics have a point and that kind of stuff. And so he's sort of having this dialogue with us. He says, we shall see whether the supernatural remains credibly in an... Okay, I'm going to start over. We shall see whether the supernatural retains its credibility in an age when science claims that only those things exist which can be objectively experienced under given conditions. So again, he's saying scientists don't think that things that we cannot measure are real. And we are together going to explore whether that's true, which like scientists don't say that. They can't. But he also is very convinced in this chapter that he's going to connect science and magic and he's going to make them make sense together, which is definitely a bold thing to say. I completely get it. I mean, like, I get where he's coming from, but I just like, I just don't think I just don't think it's accurate. Do you know what I mean? I feel like scientists are the first people to be like, I don't know about shit. Let's learn. Literally. Aliens. I mean, but I don't think there are any real scientists who are like, oh yes, I can say for sure that there are no aliens, right? I mean, bitch, we are looking for them. we are listening, right? So like, I don't know. I understand that sometimes it can feel like skepticism is preventing people from entering the conversation or preventing certain topics from being talked about. But I just don't think that that's the goal of science. The fact that people really think that we're the only planet with life on it in the universe baffles me. I also find that confusing, but most of the time, it's not the scientists who are saying that either. But I do find it very weird. It's like, how do you think that? Anyway, so yeah. So he is going to, what he's saying here too, is that we are going to, quote, try and maintain the empirical approach demanded by science. Does he do that? No. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. He does not. Shockingly, he loses because what he's saying here is I'm going to present evidence. And he really does not present evidence. I want to learn alien magic. It is out there. Fun, interesting fact. My note for this, just hot. Sexy of you to suggest that you will maintain an empirical approach. I would love to see it.
Where's it at?
He says, we will adopt the view that there is no such thing as the supernatural. Whether it exists must be natural. Whatever exists must be natural, and therefore will not contradict what we already know about the workings of nature. Okay, dog. I mean, that's sick. If we could do that, I would live. But that means no telekinesis, because that's against gravity, right? Maybe not. Maybe it's gonna make it make sense. Maybe it's gonna make it make sense. Spoiler alert, he really doesn't. But it's still interesting. What he says is not empirical, but it is interesting. So that's good. Do you think that aliens, that there are aliens, or there are greater things in the ocean? I think there's a lot of stuff in the ocean we haven't seen. Oh, I'm froze. Oh, I think there's a lot of things in the ocean that we haven't seen. Pog. We love a deep sea exploratory mission. And I also think that maybe there's fucking aliens. I don't know. Probably there are. There's definitely shit in space that we haven't seen. When was this written? The late 60s, if I'm not mistaken. It was published in the middle of the 70s. So I assume he wrote it a couple of years before he published it. Who knows? Maybe he shut it out immediately. I wouldn't know.
In space we haven't seen?
What?
These nuts.
I'm going to go leave and see you next stream. No problem. Have a good night. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be streaming Elden Ring. So maybe that'll be more your speed. Occam's Razor. Yeah. It was me. I wrote the book. Maybe. David Conway is a pseudonym. We don't know who did it. Okay. So. He talks a little bit about occult history and magical history here. He talks a little bit about like how other occultists have sort of approached this situation. And then down here, he says, we cannot even say whether our universe had a beginning, since all that study of galaxies suggests that it is expanding all the time. Citation. Again, this is not bad. Like, this is kind of accurate. I think I say not true, but may have been for the time. So like he's in the 60s. I don't know how much like Big Bang Theory he was exposed to or was even available to him. You know, so like, okay, like the universe doesn't have an edge. Like this kind of makes some kind of sense. He says this expansion has led to some cosmologists to argue that matter is being continuously created through space and so is continuously pushing outward. Again, that's not what's happening based on our current understanding, but this is not like an insane thing to say. Like it makes some kind of sense. He banged to get that theory, girl. Well, I know where all the nut sound effects are coming from to this stream. So yeah, so this is like fine so far, right? We're here and look at this. Again, he's not just like coming up with shit literally out of nowhere. He's talking about scientists. He's like mentioning specific guys. Compared to the forward, this is basically like a lecture. Like we are Gucci so far. Google tells the Big Bang Theory wasn't popularized in 2007, but it was created in the 1930s. Yeah, so like, oh, thank you, Uncle Jimmy. Thank you very much for the follow. You pulled the devil. The devil reminds you that sometimes a little anal is worth it. If it gets you where you need to go. Wow. This is a reference to earlier. You weren't here. Okay. Anal already came up.
Did it? Wow.
Okay. You wouldn't understand. It's very technical.
I'm not able to understand.
Hi, Leilani. How you doing? Took 40 Benadryls. Why?
That's too many Benadryls.
That's too many Benadryls, babe.
You're gonna get hurt.
You're gonna get hurt. What have you taken? Normally, anal magic is hard. You wouldn't understand. Yeah. Liver is not gonna like that. I don't know. For the funny, please don't. Please talk to your local healthcare professional.
Mine, that's fine.
No. Instagram is not worth it. Okay. So yeah, so like, you know, I mean, the universe is expanding. This is like reasonable enough. Okay, so it makes me feel better because I was like, at this point, I was like, maybe we are going to actually talk about something. And he goes on to say, what we do know for certain is that in the vast cosmos, there exists one particularly bright igneous star which embraces 9 major planets within its gravitational field. How clever. He's talking about us. I was annoyed by this, but it's fine.
That's so cute.
That's so cute. We're that. That's me. I'm here. Okay, get out of my swamp.
That's so me.
That's so me. Me when? Mood. Yeah, it's like fine though. Don't worry, I'm fine. I don't even know what Benadryls are. Girl, it's like antihistamine. You take it when you have an allergy reaction, baby. Wait, what passage are you talking about? Right here. He says it right here. Here, highlighted in purple. That bright star is the sun, which together with the planets and several assorted asteroid makes up what we call the solar system. Does it? Does it, David? Thank you. I said citation. But I was being kind of petty because I know this is right. The Earth is perhaps the most fortunate. Okay. Since its surface and atmosphere are, we are told, conducive to the production of stable molecular structures formed from atoms of carbon and charged with electrons. Okay, this is a really dumb way to explain that chemistry happens on Earth, but yes.
But also, like, no shit, because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be here talking about it, dude.
Citation, but like, sure, fine, is what I wrote over here. Yeah, okay.
Show me an example of a
What the fuck does charged with electrons mean? Give him a break. He's very clearly not. It gets better. So since Nubby is here, I'll give you guys a little treat. We're going to continue. These molecules have a knack for extending themselves into chains, linking with their neighbors to form an organized sequence, and finally producing bigger structures called polymers. Among the polymers are those extremely complicated substances known as proteins, which are a subtle variation on their constituent amino acids. Wait. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I'm trying to make sure. Okay, hold on. Let me start from among the polymers. Stop. I need a card. Do we have like a cue card or something? Oh, I know exactly what I need. I have the technology. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I need to bring out my reading stick because I don't have good brain muscles. Okay, here we go. I'm literally holding up a card to my monitor, and you would be shocked to know that I read a lot of scientific papers like this. So here we are. We're right here. Among the polymers are those extremely complicated substances known as proteins, which by a subtle variation of their constituent amino acids are able to generate a wide range of complex forms. Like, yes. But why? Question marks? You know how electrons, electric? It's kind of in their name. No, like what he means is like, okay, because electrons have a negative charge. So saying that electrons are charged, as in they have a negative or positive charge, is redundant, because by saying electrons, you can basically, if you're talking about chemistry, a negative charge and an electron are interchangeable. So it's just silly. Yeah, so he's not necessarily talking about like electricity. He's talking about like the negative charge associated with electrons. Like if they weren't charged, they wouldn't do the thing they're supposed to do. It's very clear that David Conway has like a pretty good idea what he's talking about, but he's definitely not a chemist. And that's fine. It's fine. Like this is not wrong. It's just dumb. Like it's not even dumb. Like it's fine. It's fine. It doesn't need to be here. It just is flexing, kind of. Like, for what? That semen talk. How dare I mention protein and expect somebody not to bring up cum? The charge is different here or elsewhere. That's why there are nuclear proteins, the most important. Yeah, that's true. Charge on Mars is very large. Pretty good basic idea for the time and for not being a chemist. And it's fine, Nubby. It's fine. He's fine. He's right. There are amino acids.
They do exist.
Chemist, question mark, talks about occultists talking about chemistry. Hi, Miss Grace. How you doing? Void magic. Ah! Yes. We get Earth preggers. We science. Correct. Correct. That's right. Also, fun fact, this thing I picked up has 2 sticky notes on that says, "No, don't leave me, going to the university." And then one that clearly was a first draft where I didn't like my handwriting that just says, "Don't." Thanks me from the past for continuing to write sticky notes. I'm not getting half the critiques here. Lord Zemosa, essentially the problem is that his chemistry is not right. But his chemistry is not right in a way that is not important for the text. So it's fine. Like, it's charged with electrons. Like, he's saying the carbon is charged with electrons, but that's not how chemistry works. But it's like, fine. We're not going to let him cook because he's not doing a very good job, but the chemistry is not the point, so don't worry about it. Anyway, he goes on a little bit about how like the Earth is so cool and how chemistry is so real, and oh my God, I know about science, and it's like, okay, pal, I'm with you, I'm listening, I'm hearing you, I get it, Occult is alchemy, which became science. The occult is anything that is, quote, hidden knowledge. And for a time, alchemy was considered part of that. And the people who were alchemists developed ideas which eventually became the foundation of chemistry. But I would not say necessarily that the occult is alchemy, which became science, because it's like a little more complicated. Like, for example, there were people doing what is recognizably biology way before anybody was doing chemistry, right? But I hear you. I see where you're coming from. I feel like he's at least tried to learn a bit. He's in university, so he's probably talking to a chemistry guy. You know what I mean? He talks about, okay, so he's also going to talk about evolution, which is why he's bringing up proteins, I think. Here, he says these are self-replicating raw materials, which, as chromosomes, make up the bricks of life, which are known as living cells. Okay. If he's talking to a chemic, he's not understanding. He's getting the very film. But I forgive him. Nubby is angry, but to be fair, Nubby's a much better chemist than I am.
And he's always angry.
And he is also always angry. So he should also talk to a biologist. It's going to get worse, so stay tuned for that. He knew a guy who took some classes for sure. Yeah, he definitely did. I forget what he said he went to university for, but I saw it somewhere in one of the interviews I was looking at with him. Are you going to bed?
Yeah, I'm fucking
Oh
sleeping.
my God, that's so gay of you. Okay, bye.
What?
That's extremely gay of you to go to bed early.
I'm not gonna have sex with the bed's butt.
Get.
I'm not gonna suck its dick.
I hope you
I'm just
do.
gonna go
Why
to
not?
bed.
Everybody say goodnight to Buddy. Buddy, I'm sorry for calling you gay. But that doesn't make it... It doesn't make me wrong. Yeah, suck the bed's dick, buddy. Why won't you? Why is there so many? Literally, Uncle Jimmy alone is making this whole conversation much more sexually charged than it needs to be. I don't know why he's even bringing up half the shit in a ritual book. He's like trying to set a foundation. He's like trying to sound smart. It's kind of working. Did he go for business? No, he went for poli-sci, I think. I only say that because he works for the government. He says that he needs to use a pseudonym because he works for the government. Good night, buddy. Try not to suck any dicks on your way to bed. I don't, for my part, I don't care how many dicks you suck. Occultists are horny. That's true. I mean, he's talking about making babies right now. So yeah, so he's talking, so now we're going to get into evolution shit, you guys. And it's going to be like mostly like fine. And then it's good. Okay. The gradient, let me give you a visual aid. Okay. Here's how the evolution talk is going to go. All right. Are you guys ready for this? The evolution talk is going to go from like, if like how shaded in the square is how much sense he makes, it's going to go from like a this to like this. Okay. Pretty good. To like this. Okay. To we're gone. If I made a graph of how much sense this motherfucker is going to make, this is like how much we read and this is how much sense he makes. It's going to be like, so just be prepared for the drop off because it's going to come fast and it's going to come hard. Don't make any jokes about me saying come.
Same.
Don't make any jokes about me saying come challenge level impossible. Okay. So he's like, so we're here. We're over here. Okay. Evolution brings single cell organisms.
No.
Cytoplasmic jelly. Mistake to bring up the cytoplasmic jelly because you really do not know what it's about, but that's fine. The earliest life forms, the immediate ambition of each cell would have been to ensure its own survival. Sure. I wrote like, sure, okay, fine, to this passage where he says, in this way, a pattern was established, which characterizes all subsequent organic evolution, for it's the fight for survival that has determined the twin processes of genetic mutation and natural selection. Okay, sorta.
Okay, but is he actually trying to insinuate that the individual cells like will to not die? Like,
No, like he's trying to paint a picture for us. He's like kind of saying, oh, as different single-celled organisms continue to like collect together and evolution progressed, like this like whole natural selection thing became real. He's basically saying, I believe in evolution and it's real and it's important. A lot of this is not very like precise. It's not very accurate, but like the vibe of believing in evolution is here. And in terms of occultists, we have to give him some credit for believing in evolution. He gets the gist. Cytoplasmic jelly is great on toast. I think there are people who would agree with you. That's what she said. No. Credit? Fuck no. It's going to get a lot worse, so I got to give him what I could give him when I got it, okay? This is what I got. This is what he gets, and he's not going to have it soon. Him believing in evolution is a W. I agree. David Conway thinks evolution is real, and it's a W. You got to trust me, you guys, okay? He uses the word doctrine here, and it shocked me so much that I highlighted it and I put a tiny question mark because it pissed me off. But it's fine. I do not like the idea of calling evolution doctrine, but whatever. He says organic evolution contends that a unified and common ancestor is responsible for the diversity in complex organisms that exist today. And that's true. W. He doesn't cite a source, but he's not wrong. And then, and then he says, this was dimly perceived by the philosophers of ancient Greece and was revived by the scientist philosophers of the 18th century. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I have no idea if this is true. I don't think it is.
They thought that diseases were caused by humors.
That's later, but yes. No, that's not a Greek thing. No, they thought that diseases were caused by failings in your moral fiber. And also by, I think, being rude. Which, to be fair, being rude is not very moral. I do not.
Punched in the face disease.
I punched in the face disease. I don't think this is right. And it's a little weird to say it, in my opinion. His doctrine, not a theoretical. I mean, it's true. It's the law of evolution. So yeah, you come on the ritual. Stop. King Drac, don't worry about the cum wizardry. Uncle Jimmy has a blanket and a hot coffee, and he's in his favorite recliner, and we are all just vibing. He's doing great. It's fine. People really think the Greeks are the first people on the planet to wonder about shit. We can address that because that is a fundamental like idea in this book. Is that like, you know how they are, bro. You know how they are. It's like, oh, Western thinking is so excellent and very objectively correct. And I don't know. I'm sure if you like asked, based on what I've read in this book, I'm sure that if you asked David Conway if he thought that anybody but the Greeks had come up with any of this shit, he'd be like, totally. But he would never bring them up on his own. What's your favorite type of cheese? I don't eat cheese, baby. But my favorite vegan cheese is the Earth Island fake Parmesan cheese, which is so convincing that I put that shit on literally everything. Oh, actually, that applewood cheese is pretty good. It's like smoked. Google tells me that evolution as a concept is old Greek writing. Okay, Pog. Google and your boy agree. Kind of. Citation still needed, though. But all right. That's a W. He believes in evolution, and sometimes he says things that are true. He talks a little bit more about, evolution. He talks about dinos for like 1 minute. He says, oh, we know a lot about things because we did a bunch of science and that's good. And then he says, Amy, Is Amy in the chat right now? Amy, this one is for you, baby. Because he says, despite the wonder, however, the appearance of man was no mere accident. And Homo sapiens, like all else in nature, has appropriate place on the evolutionary tree. Who the fuck said anything was on accident? You, bitch. You're the only one who's talking about accidents out here. What? Oh, no, you guys, you don't understand. You don't understand. Dudes are special. Okay. It can't be by accident. Dudes had to appear. It's how it is. Why the fuck have we got to play this fake little song and dance where you pretend like scientists are saying that shit happened on accident? No one said that. That's why it's for Amy. He tried to write 2 different books and accidentally continued the work of one with another's rough draft sheet. It's like not that bad. It's like at least internally sort of consistent. What the hell does don't worry. Don't worry, Lord Zemos. Don't forget, okay? The inflection point is quickly approaching. Okay? We are going to get to it. We do fire. Get loincloth. True. I am going to go back in time to make sure that his socks are soaked every day for his entire life. Uncle Jimmy is off his rocker, isn't he? He's doing great. Uncle Jimmy is simultaneously making the most sense and the least sense out of anybody. The grass should be lower. I'm trying to take the W's where I can take them. Okay. So what did I say here? What is my note? Hold on. Let me squint at it for a minute. If homeboy says accident one more time, I agree, babe. Remember, I'm hot off the forward, so I'm still pissed off at this point. Okay, so we're going to try to connect this whole thing to magic. So what is he saying? He is saying that magic has to do with natural law, that magic is based on natural law, that natural law and magic are not contradictory, that anybody says they're contradictory is not good. He says that like we live in a solar system and on a planet, and that planet happens to be very good for chemistry, and that chemistry made life real, and that life has evolution, and that's so good, and that people are here now. Great. And then he says that one time somebody baptized an orangutan. And then he says, the physical resemblance between ape and man is too obvious to be stated. It is reported that when the first orangutan was exhibited in Paris in the 18th century, the archbishop of that city waited outside its cage to baptize the creature as soon as it emitted a sound resembling human speech. It sounds real, but he didn't cite a source, so citation needed. But it does sound kind of real. That sounds like something the Catholics would absolutely fucking do. They love to be baptizing motherfuckers. They're like, you get Jesus, and you get Jesus, and you get Jesus, and 100% they would try to baptize an orangutan. I don't know if the orangutan went to heaven. Parrots also meant human sounding speech. I mean, maybe we should start baptizing African gray parrots. Monk, arcane magic, make monkey speak tongues. Maximum monk moment. He meant, I know what he meant, but I really like the phrase, the first orangutan. Baptize the parrots. I highlighted this because I just thought, I have to mention that he meant to baptize an orangutan. Also feels like branding. You're one of my people now. Moses truly be like, let my people go at the monkey exhibit. Monk heaven real. Monk heaven now. He wasn't the second one. It's true. Parrot heaven, parrot hell. That's true. Parrot purgatory. Parrot purgatory is you only get like PetSmart like seed mix to eat, and you get kind of fat. Not good for parrots to feed them only seed mix, you guys. You got to give them some fruit. Baptize the parrots, baptize the crows, baptize the ravens. Monk, no hell, only shame. So he says that. He also says here, he says, psychologists have even drawn their observations of ape behavior in order to explain human conduct. Like, this did happen. And he probably doesn't know this yet, but it didn't turn out good. Reminds me of the dolphin situation. If you don't know about the dolphin, I am not ready to explain it to you. All I'm going to tell you is that you can go to Atrocity Guide on YouTube and you can figure out about the dolphin yourself, because I'm not going to tell you. Okay? I highly recommend that you do that only if you're 18. I don't know what I joined into, but hello. Hi, Huffle the Crow. We're talking about magic
Mother,
shit.
would you still love me if I was a monkey and could only go to monkey heaven?
Yes, I would still love you if you had to go to monk heaven. Only where Polly can get the best crackers in parrot heaven, true. Dolphin, no. I wish I didn't, but I know about the dolphin thing. # consent. Consent is important. Remember, everyone, about the Harkness test, okay? It's very important that you remember the Harkness test. What about the whales? I would also contend that the whales do not pass the Harkness test. Is John McAfee right? No. Stream over. Get this John McAfee shit the fuck out of here.
About what specifically?
Are you talking about when they gave meth and blowjobs to dolphins to try to get them to learn English? Yeah. Yeah, I am. I don't want to talk about this anymore. This dolphin story makes me sad. Though the most ironically weird mystic stream I've ever walked into. Yeah. I wish I could tell you it's not normally like this, but it kind of is. Quick, baptize mom so she can go to ferret heaven. Are you saying that I sound like a fucking parrot? How dare you? What is this stream? Yeah, it was not blowjobs. Thank fuck for that. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the dolphins, you guys. We can't. Okay, next
Next we gotta baptize the dolphins.
You're so late to this joke. You're so late to this joke that you literally went. Are you in your pants? Why are you in hard pants again?
Because I went to go get juice. Got you juice because I love you. And an axolotl.
Thank you for the axolotl.
I mean, I got you the axolotl. I don't love the axolotl. I mean, I do love the axolotl, but not like that.
Go away. Go to bed.
Okay.
Do not pass go. Do not go to parrot heaven. Now I'm gonna go back. Next stream, everybody's be screaming about parrot heaven, and all the normal people who don't come in for the occult streams are gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?" If I got paid $20, I would blow a dolphin. Please don't. Juice requires hard pants. Put him in jail.
Dolphins don't have wallets. They don't have $20 to give you, dude.
They don't have $20. Go to bed. Why are we baptizing dolphins? I wish we weren't. Honestly, I really wish we were not. Huffle, what do you want to ask? I feel like the danger is worth more than $20. I'm not going to comment on that. Every time Uncle opens his mouth, I roll 10% chance to shut my PC off and go to sleep immediately. Force him to roll the punishment dice. If you baptize Jordan, Jordan goes to hell. Not because Jordan is with sin, but because Jordan wants to party with the cool kids. That seems pretty accurate. I was going to ask if dolphin baptizing their babies would be like Russians because they just dunk them in. I have seen the Russian baptisms where they just like grab the baby by the head and just like bleh, splash them. And somehow I feel like that might be the best way to do it. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Cut the tunes for a sec. Okay. Hold on, cut the tunes. Hello? Apparently Touch Portal's not going to cut the tunes. What is Touch Portal doing with its life? I'm closing it and opening it again. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Okay.
No.
Everybody take a moment. No nut. Everybody take a deep breath. Okay. I want you to imagine like your house that you're in. Dry and relaxing. Okay. I would love for all of you to purge dolphins from your thoughts so that we can continue peacefully to the craziest part of this part of the book, which is about to go fucking badankas. Okay? I need you to steer with me. Please stop praising Dolphin Jesus in chat. Oh my Lord. Oh. Talks about the missing link. The missing link isn't real. It's not real. But I gotta give him some credit because it's the 60s. It's the 60s. He doesn't know that the missing link isn't real yet. Nubby, you should feel bad for that. You really should. Undersea creatures should likely play to Cthulhu. Like an Octodad. Maybe you're right, actually. Missing link is why I can't find my copy of Zelda. Yeah, it's not real, but he probably thinks it's real, so that's at least something. He talks about fossils. Okay. Are you guys ready? I need us all locked in because it's about to get weird. So I've marked it. Excuse me. I marked it as evolution and it's going to start. We're talking about the transition from monk to a human being. Okay. Somewhere about this period in the evolutionary process right here had reached a point which the potential humanoid embodied all the characteristics required to accomplish the transition from animal to man. So he is saying that there is a specific combination of things that make a thing a people and that it happened at some point. And that the thing that makes a monk a man is big brain. I am coming to your house and I'm shaking you and I demand that you stop talking about Jesus, Dolphin. Jesus, Dolphin forgives all. Big brain makes the monk into the man. How are we defining man? That's a great question. It is not elaborated on at this time. He talks like a little bit about like how people can like, essentially, I'll spoil it for you, okay? He thinks that the difference is imagination. It's imagination. It's being able to imagine things. Now, do I think that monk can imagine things? Probably, but he's not ready for that. Okay, he's talking about he needs people to be special. He's got a conclusion that he's working towards, and that conclusion is that human beings are special and different. Secret age and Dolphin Jesus man. What do I believe? I'm secular, so I don't have like a lot of spiritual connection to this material. I think people are not special. Is part of what I think. I think we are just part of the whole kit and caboodle, baby. Yeah. Am I atheist? I guess atheist is the most accurate. I used to say that I was agnostic, but now that seems kind of weak sauce. Yeah. Desuccular, true. Pretty compelling report recently that the ass is what made man from monk. I have heard that. And I also find the ass very compelling. I agree. Weirdly relevant. Aquatic mammals were obviously smarter for not stepping on land. To be honest, they seem to be having a chill time, and I wish I also was. For example, they don't have jobs. Everybody's like, oh, why would you want to be an animal? Being an animal is lame. Okay, but they don't have to go to work. Hey, thank you for the follow. Lotus Leaf Manny. Thank you for the follow. You pulled the moon. The moon reminds you that some secrets don't need to be revealed. Some things can just stay where they are, and you don't need to worry about it. Thank you again for the follow. Once a philosopher that said that man was just a hairless bad blood, a featherless biped. And then it was Diogenes. It was the barrel man himself who walked in on Plato giving a lecture and held up a plucked chicken and said, "Behold a man." And then I think he also pissed his pants, if I'm not mistaken about that account. And then Plato was so furious that I think he turned beet red is the story. And then they sent the cops to get Diogenes out of there and he left. What do they want the monk to imagine after becoming a man? Don't worry, Hufflecrow. He's going to talk about that to us in detail shortly. Humans have actually more evolutionary advantages than just a big brain. Literally. The endurance, which everyone knows your endurance is stored in your ass. Echo the dolphin. Oh, God. Once again, anal has come up. It's true. Thank you. I'm lurking. Have a great time zone. Thank you very much for the lurk. I appreciate you. I'm sorry about our uncle. He's based, but he's a little too based sometimes. You know what I mean? So he says, oh, the big brain is what finally set us apart from other animals. It has been attributed down here variously to divine inspiration and spontaneous intuition, a cervical irrigation of nucleic acid. But whatever the reason, man suddenly became aware of his own individuality and of his independence from the world around him. Shall I repeat it for the people in the back? Okay, so starting here. Okay, starting from but above all. Okay, but above all, man's brain provided the impetus for what would finally set him apart from other animals. It has been attributed variously to divine inspiration, spontaneous intuition, a cervical irrigation of nucleic acid. What? But whatever the reason, man suddenly became aware of his own individuality and of his independence from the world around him. Got it. I hate this type of argument so much. I would not have made it through this book. It's so much better than Colin that I was like, okay, I can do this. And also, it's going to get weird, which is at least fun. If a monk gets thick enough, do they become man? Yes. How a horse, an animal bred specifically for running, will die after an hour of running without stopping. Yeah, and then we could run like 17 marathons. Yeah, I agree with that. Don't keep acid in the cervix. Ugh. Not drinking 2 days and events for the world works out. Oh my God. Would I like a cookie? I would love a cookie. I have some scones actually that I could eat. Like he has to say suddenly because if he admits it's more than a gradient, he has to acknowledge that it's arbitrary. Ladies and gentlemen, she got it. That's literally the thing. Like all occultists and many other people, not just occultists, he is desperate to make people special. The book is called Magic and Occult Primer. And I do think that there is valuable information in it, but not here. There's good stuff in here, but this ain't it. This is not it, baby. Dolphin-shaped cookie. Thank you. I wish I had some cookies. All I have is sweet edibles. I don't know if that's what you need, but I support you. So yeah, so he has this to say, I desperately want to know what he means by cervical irrigation of nucleic acid. Maybe that's actually a theory. Most of his stuff has been like sort of salient. Oh my God. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we need to go again. I said, okay, hold on. How do I want to present this? Let me get paint back here, okay? That's you. Okay, so the way this is going to work is we have a conclusion over here. Sorry, over here, okay? And that is that magic is real and can be done by people specifically, okay? And we are over here in like the evolution zone still. And so we're going to migrate to this place by making more and more intense arguments about how people specifically are capable of magic, okay? This is where on the graph, on the previously mentioned graph, we're like here, okay? So the first thing he's going to say, the first thing he does say is that people can like think about things, bro. And people can also talk about things, bro. They be talking and they be thinking. They be thinking and they be talking. If cats can do magic, you have to tell us. There are a lot of people who think cats specifically can do magic. Not dogs, but cats. Could be magic the entire time and we don't know. Literally, I don't know. He said, remember, don't fucking forget, okay? Do not, stay with me, folks. He said that he was going to do this with trying to maintain empirical approach demanded by science. This is literally like several paragraphs away from where we are. So weird because he doesn't seem to be doing that, but okay. Okay, so he says at some point, okay, humans were still animals, but animals that have reason, that can think thoughts, reasoning. Okay. A creature of the earth previously, but now inhabited what Teilhard de Chardin has termed the noosphere. Okay, so what he's saying is that as we make this transition from thinking about things to talking about things to doing logic, we start to be able to do manifestation. Okay. And the argument he's making is that human beings specifically evolved because thinking thoughts and imagining things and reasoning is like a fundamental property of the universe. And therefore, the human mind is indissolubly linked to the physiological process of evolution. I just wrote, okay. Okay. Are you with me, you guys? My 10-pound dog is now 11 pounds. One of those pounds is my burger. That's so sad. That's like, you know, like a story in two sentences. That's a tragic story in 2 sentences. Imagine being the first human to do magic. Must have been wild. It must have been. I blacked out. Yeah, I also am kind of blacking out. So I'm here. This rapid and all too superficial review of evolution makes it abundantly clear that the human mind is indissolubly linked with the physiological process of evolution. We must at once discount the idea that at a certain point in prehistory, God breathed into man a soul, which gave him his humanity, and at a special place in the natural and supernatural scheme of things. So what he's saying is the Judeo-Christian idea of Genesis is wrong. Evolution is real, and it's magic. Okay. Continuing from here, evolution. Evolution is dramatic enough without recourse to a deus ex machina. By insisting on the link between physical and mental development, we are from the outset avoiding Also, any suggestion of dualism according to which man may be viewed in terms of a mind and a body, a ghost in the machine. So I guess the argument is that your consciousness is like part of your body? Like, okay. Sure. That's not based on anything. But okay. Man is man because man can do magic. Because he think, therefore he is, I guess. Why can't both be wrong? You're not wrong. Why has it got to be one or the other? Literally. I missed the part where he proved evolution was magical. It's like here. He's like, oh, we start talking. We start standing upright. We start thinking. We got big brain. Big booty, big brain. You know, and then he's like, oh, suddenly we were aware of ourselves. And then we were talking about shit. And then we were reasoning things. And now we're in the nun space where you think about thoughts. And, you know, we're looking at evolution from a high level, but you can still see, it's still clear that the human mind is part of the evolutionary process, and like manifestation is real, and you don't have to rely on God. I think that he brings up God here, even though he clearly has like a Christian lean. We will see that he clearly believes in some parts of Christianity. I think the reason he brings it up is because he somehow imagines that like creationism as it exists in a Christian context is the opposite of science. And so by denouncing creationism, it therefore means that he is on the side of evolutionary science. That's what I think he's doing here. It's not working. It's not working. How many brain cells you lost in this person's book? To be fair, the forward is still worse. Makes absolutely no sense and contradicts the teachings of every civilization. You know, split person in us, according to him. He's like saying, okay, so here where he's talking about the ghost in the machine, like his idea is that like, oh, like you're not a floating brain soul, right? Like you're not a soul inside of a body. Your body's not just a shell that your soul lives inside of. Like you as a conscious being and your body are the same thing, and they can't be separated. He's saying that evolution proves that, but it doesn't. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that the fact that other creatures like think thoughts and like that evolution took us to a place where our brain can think thoughts, that's like part of the argument against like this sort of soul body thing. But like, I don't think most people who believe in a soul are really worried about that. So I don't really get how he thinks that he's proving himself right, but that's as far as what's important for continuing our discussion. This is where he is coming from. Like, this is his opinion. Okay, there's no evidence for this. I can't prove it. He thinks magic is connected to evolution, understanding. Then why are humans the only things he thinks have understanding? Because they're special. Because he's special, baby. Obviously. I believe him on your body being your mind because your brain. You know, like, I kind of get where he's coming from, but I just think it's like, I just don't think it's taking him where he thinks he's going. Does that make sense? He thinks the reader will automatically come from a Christian mindset. I do think that he thinks that. I do think that he believes that everybody who reads this book will come from essentially the same place he's coming from, which is very clearly a Christian spot. So, okay, fine. So like, okay, so the key points here, again, key points to remember for later. All right. Evolution is real. Evolution is not an accident. Okay. humans developed with intention. They developed with intention to think thoughts. They think thoughts. They talk about their thoughts. They reason about their thoughts. This proves that they're special and that they can do magic. It also proves creationism wrong. Okay. And you're not an eternal soul inside of a body, but instead your mind and your conscious being and your body are the same thing. Okay. Okay. We have islands of birds that live together with rats, and the rats and the birds and the herbivores coexisted. And then when the tourists began feeding the rats meat from their sandwiches and stuff, and now the rats are carnivorous and the birds and eat the birds if they can. Shit's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of evidence for evolution, and at least luckily we don't have to argue with him about that, because if we did, I'd be exhausted. If evolution was an accident, you might as well jump the gun. Listen, it's just dumb. Like, nobody's saying any of it is an accident. Like, I can't. So, okay. So this is his like thought, right? And then he's got a little hippy dippy thing that happens here where he's like, oh, like we got to be one with the animals. We got to be nice to the earth. Okay, pal. We got to live on Earth. So I appreciate being nice to it. He does this a lot. So he says here, okay. So I'm here at who would deny. Who would deny, for example, that a chimpanzee possesses a mind of its own? I mean, they definitely are thinking about something. Sure. Indeed, assuming as we must that the mind and matter are inextricably linked, then the mere fact that a chimpanzee has a body is sufficient proof that it has a mind. But I thought that the brains were the special part. Okay. I don't think snails have a mind, but okay. Hi there, Kelly. We're trying to get through this. Okay. So he says that philosophical proofs are unnecessary. I think it's kind of necessary. Nature herself shows us quite plainly that all living things can think. I think he does include plants. I know what you're thinking. Chat. Like, does he also mean plants? I think he does. I think he does also mean plants. He does it. Now he's going to start making hierarchical differences. Okay, so you guys know how Jordan Peterson's always screaming about hierarchies? He's like, oh, objective truth is real and hierarchies are how the universe works. That's very much in line with occultic thinking, that there are layers and power levels and, and ranks and shit like that. They do be loving to categorize bitches by how fancy they are. So he's going to split animals into lower animals that can't be doing the thinky as good and animals that are higher that can be doing the thinky. Okay, fine. I say, I don't know. We could get into it in response to this philosophical proof situation. Yeah, so I agree with myself. I think we could get into it a little bit, but he doesn't. Okay. I'm a top G girl now. Girl, bye. Power levels over 9,000 for real. Kind of confusing me how interested you are into this, despite not really believing any of it. Not just the book, but occultism in general. I think there are interesting parts of occultism, but I don't think they're presented in the first chapter of this book. I think that he is trying really, really hard to. I think what he wanted. And what he said he wanted to do at the beginning of this chapter was to make science agree with his occultic thinking. And it clearly doesn't, but he has just come up with his own theory and he wants us to know it. And I think it's interesting to put some of his other ideas in context with this, right? Yeah. So anyway. So he says, okay, there's like lower animals, there's higher animals. Oh yeah. Being able to imagine things is a uniquely human thing. Being able to reason and do logic and have conversations and do debates and stuff is a thing that people can do and animals don't do. I mean, I guess they don't, as far as I know. I don't know. Fine. I've seen parrots argue, speaking of parrot heaven. So, and then he goes into a little bit about like more about this idea about like whether animals can think, and he sort of like is trying to make proof. He's already said that he thinks it's obvious, and he's already said that he thinks it's a natural conclusion from evolution. But then he also says, for example, if I see a large obstacle in my path when I'm walking down the road, I shall try to avoid it. That's this purple section right here that we are at, okay? I will try to avoid it. A dog will do the same. So too will a worm. Can we infer from this that a worm has a mind? I think we must. And then he's also going to make the argument in this paragraph that amoeba have a mind. Okay. Okay. Sure. I mean, if that's your argument, I say here, okay, so you're vegan. A little bit petty of me, to be honest. More citations, question marks are never a good sign. Clearly, proof that nature has a mind is as much the result of observation as it is of logical deduction. So so this is now expanding to mean that all of nature, all of it, has this like mental dimension to themselves, okay? So this is very important, okay? He's really gonna get into this like imagination, thinking, all that. And being able to connect to nature through this way is part of where we're gonna go with the rituals later, okay? Because he's not just trying to explain what occultists think in general. He is telling us what he thinks and how he thinks it works. Okay, so here in this purple section, that there is something which may be called mental, coexistent with life, is a fundamental belief in magic, and is a belief shared with many great scientists. And then he has a footnote, and the footnote says, other scientists hold a different view, and he talks a little bit about that. Okay, a footnote is good. It's not a citation, but it's better than nothing. I get kind of annoyed. We can tell you're speculating. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that this is pure speculation, but okay, fine. Prove it, they don't check me. I want to put a little Jesus outfit on a parrot. I think that would be pretty based. Magical ventures into speculate on nature, on the nature of this universal mind. So do you guys see where we're going? Are you guys seeing where we're going? Are you guys picking it up? Everything is having thoughts. Everything is having a mind. We have this universal mind, the mind of nature, the thoughts and feelings of nature. You're right. It's the collective consciousness. Ding, 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 ding. Take a shot. Yeah, that's where we're going. They would say he's lying. Can you imagine giving this book to a caveman? I think the caveman would just be like, this is stupid. And honestly, here it is, my infamous note. I put this on Twitter where I just wrote, no girl, no girl. Okay, so we're going to start up here. However, these conclusions, provided that they satisfy the essential conditions of observation and experience, do not deserve to be rejected out of hand. They don't. But okay, reason and induction are perfectly respectable aids to knowledge. So he's saying, if I can do a philosophical proof of a thing, it's probably right. Nope. No, but okay. These led Democritus in the 5th century BC to describe the atom, although only in the second half of the last century could technology produce the instruments needed to show he was right. Okay, so this might seem to come out a little bit of left field, but I promise you also, like, we're summarizing here. So he does an okay job connecting these ideas, but like what he's saying is that the universal mind allowed the ancient Greeks to have the idea of atomic particles, and only recently have we proven them right. He's saying this is a very fundamental occultic idea, and he's doing a really bad job of explaining it. But what he's saying is that all human knowledge is accessible through the universal mind of nature, and that is how ancient people came up with theories that turned out to be right. And again, just to remind you of my response to this, I just wrote, no, girl. No, bitch. That's not how it fucking works. So now we're going to move on to something new. This really annoys me, you guys. Okay, so now that we've established that there is a universal mind full of all kinds of important knowledge, which I've established it. I forgot how nonsensical this chapter is. I thought it was better, but I'm getting annoyed. It is an all too common presumption of allegedly non-presupposing scientists that nothing can exist until it has been detected by them or the apparatus they have invented. That sentence right there, this one right here, that's another one for Amy. That's another special delivery for Amy %. This makes me need a drink. Who else needs a glass of whiskey? I need like a long hot tea, and I need a heated blanket, and I need to get the fuck away from this guy. Yeah, so there was an ancient Greek concept of atoms, but like, it's not the same as the concept of atoms that we have now. It came from a different place. And like going back in time to try to assert that he was right, and he knew what we were talking about, that's not how it is. Like the reason why the thing he was thinking of was called atoms, and why we call atoms, what we call them subatomic particles, atoms now, we do that because we know what his theory was. We knew what this fucking Greek guy's idea was when we came up for the idea for atoms. He's not right. He's just influential. That doesn't mean that his stuff is garbage. Like obviously people in Greece were smart and they were thinking of things critically and they were imagining how the world might work and all this, and that's all valid. But like it's not, this guy is not proving that he got that idea from like the Akashic records or whatever. Yeah, he was describing the physical world in an interesting way, and it turned out to have like he used the scientific method and his observations to come up with some pretty solid ideas. But like, again, just annoying. I thought you were going to say a Long Island iced tea. I don't drink alcohol because I'm an old lady, but I just want a hot tea. I've never had a Long Island iced tea. It sounds kind of scary. Okay. So now he needs to bring this idea, extend this idea even further. Okay. So if our soul and our consciousness and our body are not different, okay, then when we die, nothing changes. That's his argument. An argument to which I respond with just ma'am. Okay. For him, this mind is universal, okay? Although it is experimentally observable only in the behavior of living organisms, the distinction between living matter and dead matter is at best a vague one. All right? So what he's saying is that scientists think that they know that there's no universal nature mind because the only things that we know for sure are thinking thoughts are things that are alive and can like make noise. But really, what is the difference between things that are alive and things that are dead? I can think of one difference. Dead bitches aren't doing shit. They are on the ground. Rocks don't go nowhere. How the fuck are you going to tell me that you think the rocks are thinking, dude? But that's what he is telling us. Okay. The origin of life itself is now accredited to an adventurous combination of dead chemicals subjected to various gases. I love that. That is a t-shirt. I am an adventitious combination of dead chemicals subjected to various gases. Vodka, rum, gin, tequila, triple sec, and a splash of cola. Oh, sounds horrible. It wasn't just one gas. No, it's various gases. It is various gases. Atoms are Adam, and Eve is evolution. Boom, mic drop, literally. This pissed me off so much that I just posted it on. I was like, who the fuck does he think? He thinks dead things are not separable from human beings. And I actually got several people who pushed back on me on that on twitter.com. They're like, well, dead things are kind of just basically the same. All the same things are there. Blah, blah, blah. No. No. Let me tell you something, chat. When you die, all of the chemical reactions that are happening in your body stop happening. It is very easy to tell that you have died for that reason. Do you know what I mean? Okay, but so he's like, oh, I can't, the dead chemicals, blah, 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 This is especially true if one recalls that in the stone's molecular structure, are you with me? This one's for Nubby. In the stone's molecular structure, there are elementary particles all whizzing around in a manner that seems far from dead. Am I going insane? So he's telling me that because nothing is at 0 Kelvin, because rocks are not at 0 Kelvin and all the atoms are standing perfectly still, they gotta be alive because shit in there is moving. Oh my God, damn. Cars be alive, they be moving, bitches be moving, and that means they're not dead. That's it. The planets be moving, they're not dead. Bitches be moving. The wind be moving, that's not dead. So can rocks do magic? No. People can do magic because they can do imagination. But rocks are alive and therefore are in magic. At this point, I was just like, fine. Okay, fine. This is his theory. Every plant and animal must share spiritually in the life process of the world's soul, just as it participates materially in the organization of the world's body. Okay, so now we're going somewhere in like an occult sense. Okay, so the world has like a body and it's like measurable and it's visitable and it's physical. And if we can tap into it and we can tap into like this like overarching idea of like thought and mind and soul that exists everywhere in nature, then we can take from that power and do magic. This is a Kabbalah thing to a certain extent, right? Fine. Oh my God, he talks about RNA. I highlighted it because I was annoyed. RNA was discovered in the 50s. He's like, the recent discovery of RNA and subsequent views on the molecular origin are thought to only serve to confirm this idea about this like whole situation. Again, if you're not a chemist and you don't know about RNA, that's not going to make a lot of sense to you, but it is stupid. RNA, boo this man. Needs to pick a lane. He's trying to connect. He's trying to make a theory of everything. So the evolution makes people, and the people can think thoughts, and everything can think thoughts, and nothing is dead. And so all of it is part of the soul and the body of the world, and the soul and the body of the world are what we connect to when we do magic. All right, next quote. It's this one. This movement. So this is the movement in all the rocks and all the atoms and all the things. Everything be moosh moving. You read this before? Deceiving Cries? Have you read this book? Oh my God. Here we are together. You definitely need a rose quartz, $5. This movement is reducible to rational laws of motion. We may safely conclude that the universe or rather, its all-pervading vitalism, is itself both orderly and rational. And yet, the world has its share of disorder and destruction. At times, it may even seem chaos rather than unity or harmony. So, is everything making sense or is nothing making sense? Help me out. I don't know if I should feel ashamed about that fact or not. No. Reading is good, even if you read things that you don't agree with. Because if they have bad ideas, then at least now you know that you don't agree. Off to bed. Have a good night, Kelly. So now what he's trying to talk about is balance. He's like, oh, also, everything has balance. Every force has an opposing force, right? Everything comes around, it goes around. Like, it's kind of that vibe, right? He sort of here he makes an argument that basically this whole shtick is true everywhere in the universe, not just on Earth. Okay, I mean, that makes sense to me. If you're trying to make this argument, which you are, so okay. He's going to disparage atheists a little bit. I say here, like I agree, the atheist will be all too ready to tell us that to deify a natural, albeit unfathomable process is to explain one mystery by substituting another. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's like the old storyteller who claimed that the world rested on the back of a tortoise, and when asked what the tortoise was standing on, replied that it was standing on the back of an elephant. Yeah, you are just going down in circles. I do think so. Good one here. Good note for me. Girl, bye. So you know this is going to be a good one. I'm afraid that at this point, we are nevertheless going to try to smuggle in the tortoise. We may even need the elephant as well. So you are telling me that it doesn't make no fucking sense. Okay, fine. There is no real harm in calling the life force God. So up here, I was very pissed off by this, y'all. He was like, oh, evolution is real, which proves that God didn't make the earth and the human beings and things. Okay. And then he went on this absolute tirade. Literally, I think it's here, measurably here, where the evolution making sense drop off is. Just fucking plummets. Okay. Oh, we have this natural thing that people can think, and all the animals can also think, and also the plants can think. And so anything alive can think. And what's alive? Really, everything is basically alive. Okay. Everything is basically alive, which means it's all part of the body of nature. And the body of nature also is connected to the soul of nature. Okay, because everything that's alive has thought, so it's also thinking things. Fine. Okay, I said okay, I believed you, I went with you, and now we're here. Where you're like, oh, so if the life force is real and the earth is just a giant body of everything being alive and everything alive has a thought, then we might as well just call that God. Why? Yeah, he literally brought himself all the way back around to make Christian God real, because that's what he wanted to do in the first place. And he did it poorly. We shall attribute God nothing more than what can be reasonably attributed to the life force. He just doesn't want to prove it. He's just like, yeah, I mean, we could. He literally goes on a little tirade. Oh, we're just calling it God. You can call it anything you want. It could be anything. I mean, why would I call it something else? Everybody was calling it God before, and that's such a convenient thing to say. And it's got so much pedigree. So we might as well use the word that everybody else is using it. But don't worry, reader. I'm still doing the science thing. There's so much evidence here that I'm sure you can clearly see why we would agree that God is real. That God is real. Okay. All right. You know what? Fine. This is your framework. Fine. I think that your argument is garbage, and I think that you got here in a stupid way. But fine. If what you want is for me to let you believe in God, you got it. Oh my God, what are y'all on about now? Jimmy has admitted to sacrificing Grandma to get the soul stone. Can y'all cool it? What are you? Y'all are having a whole freaking World of Warcraft roleplay in chat. King, don't take things from Jimmy. Jimmy, stop trying to sell your boy demon crystals. Get it together, ladies. All right, so he's going to go on with this a little bit more. He can't just leave it alone. He's going to try to justify himself and get into it. And then, maddeningly, he just says, the whole question is irrelevant to the practice of magic, which involves no more than the application of certain natural laws. It's quite immaterial whether or not these laws presuppose a divine lawgiver. What? So you spent this entire time trying to make science prove God real. And then you're just gonna be like, who gives a shit anyway? Why are we talking about it then? Why you brought this up? This was your idea. He asked. King Drag. He likes to say things, only take from them completely made up BS. I mean, this whole chapter is just him just walking himself in a circle. Learn a Bite Science Challenge, difficulty impossible. It represents for the magician, as it must also for the scientist, the secret of nature. It is the unifying principle behind the intricacy of natural phenomena, reconciling the unity of substance with the heterogeneity of form. Again, he contradicts himself. He says God is important. God is important and real. Then he says God is real, but not important. And then he says God is real and important again. Okay. Fine. All right. So we've established, oh, thank you for the self-care break. Uncle Jimmy, if you think that this is smells of nasty colonizer, just you wait, because more is coming for you, baby. Thank you for self-care break. Thank you. Thank you. Have we established anything? David Conway thinks God is real, and he believes in evolution, and he doesn't understand chemistry. So in magic, there's this concept that different things fit into categories together and they have certain relationships. And that's like an important part of how magic works, right? You can invoke something by using something else. Oh my God, have we been streaming for almost 3 hours? Oh my God. Do you need a proper break? It's fine. We're not even at the end of this first chapter. How much more do we have to go? Where am I? All right. Me, 3 chapters. Us, 3 hours. Fantastic. Okay, so magical correspondences are an important concept in occultism. So if you imagine that you would use some sage to cleanse a room, you're using sage because it has a correspondence with the idea of, you know, cleansing and the intention of like removing bad energy and all this kind of stuff, right? 8 chapters left, 80 hours later. I'm going to try to speed up the rest of this chapter because I think the most confusing part is basically over. Also, the dolphin discourse did slow things down. That is true. So yeah, you know, he talks about correspondences. So he's remember, we're talking about magical theory. So he's talking about magical theory, how it relates to natural law. So the idea that he thinks that the entirety of nature is connected because everything is alive and is part of the body of God, basically. That is an important part of how the correspondences work, okay? So let me draw you guys a little bit of a diagram to illustrate this idea because it is important. It's important in this book, but it's also important in cultism in general, okay? So on this side, we have things that we can see with our eyes, okay? And on this side, we have things that we cannot see, okay? On this side, we have, let's say, the color yellow. Literally, I saw this example earlier, so I'm just using it. So on this side, we have the color yellow. Oh, why does it do that? I think it still has a little bit of green screen. On this side, we have the color yellow. Okay. And then we have the concept of the direction east. Okay. The color yellow and the direction east have a correspondence. So the argument he's making is that because everything is connected through the body of nature, right? And the soul, the mind of nature, that these two things have a connection inside of a realm that we don't experience with our five senses. Does this make sense? So this is a correspondence. Yellow and the direction, the cardinal direction east, are connected, and they're connected in a way that we cannot see through a force that we are not able to detect, which happens somewhere in the realm of things we are not experiencing with our five senses. Some good yellow. I kind of agree. It's very mustardy, right? How do we feel about this? This makes sense, right? And those two things could be anything? No. So essentially, various occultists have made claims of certain correspondences, and there is consensus about what those correspondences are. So later in the book, he's going to give us a table. Like, he's going to give us a list, baby. Let me see if I can find a list. We were talking about this last time, but like the tables of correspondences. This is not it. This is instructions. These are magic circles. Give me correspondences for 300. No, this is a poem. These are hieroglyphs. I don't need that. I need correspondences. Give me an example of correspondences. This is not it. This is another ritual explanation. Oh. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is a correspondence table. So this is a zodiac table. The star sign Aries, right? The star sign, the star sign Aries is associated with the metal iron, which is associated with the gem ruby, which is associated with the color scarlet, which is associated with sage as a plant, right? The plant sage. These things all have the same energy. So if you want to do a ritual where you're using the energy of Aries, which is associated, which planet is Aries? It's Mars, right? Yeah, so if you want to invoke the planet Mars, which has a correspondence to the star sign Aries, you could use a bit of iron, a ruby stone, the color red, or a sage plant, or some sage leaves, right? Where do they get the correspondences? So there is you can imagine that alchemists would do tests to see which correspondences make sense, like which things go together, essentially, right? So the idea is that these are brought up by experimentation, right? That you would try to do some man in the ancient world would try to do a ritual where he invokes the planet Mars, and he would find that it has a correspondence to the metal iron. When he used iron in his ritual, he was able to successfully invoke the planet Mars. But do they have a traceable lineage? Am I able to tell you specifically where some of these correspondence came from? No. Not just because I don't have an expertise, but my understanding is that they're not documented, but they are agreed upon, right? So David Conway believes this correspondence is real, but so does Aleister Crowley, and so do a bunch of other occultists and magicians, right? So if you look for correspondences in two different books, they should essentially match, right? Right? Aries iron, which is fear, through war scarlet, red, ruby, blood, sage would heal sage. Yes, right? And you can kind of see a lot of these are cultural, a lot of these are spiritual. They come from different rituals. They come from the Greeks. They come from the Christians. They come from the Jews. And that's how these tables get more and more columns. So you can see it's arranged in columns, right? And so by finding more sources, you can identify more correspondences. And this is, again, this is a fundamental part of how magical thinking works. And you also see this in other cultures. So obviously the correspondences are not all the same, but in Eastern religions, these correspondences also show up. Yeah. Boom, solved again. Yeah. Color coded. Yeah, everything has a color, and I have another book, here's a book that I was looking at just the other day. This is a book of correspondences. This is literally a book that is just correspondence tables. And you can see, here's an example of another correspondence table. So here we are connecting angels, biblical angels specifically. Oop. So if I wanted to invoke the biblical angel Toriel, then I could also use another name for him, and I could find him in another text, right? Like here we have Shamsiel is represented by the sign of the sun. Okay, thank you very much for the follow. Dai Rai Bit. You pulled the High Priestess. The High Priestess reminds you that sometimes the thing that needs work is you. And there's nothing wrong with that. As an F tier angel, there's a bunch of angels. There's a bunch of demons. Tarot cards are in here. So tarot cards are like way down. Let me see if I can find them. Tarot cards are my area of expertise because I'm into divination. So here we are, right? This one is not my favorite, but you can see like in different systems of tarot, what is everything called? And then like these numbers are passed on the Kabbalistic tree of life. And that all has to do with correspondence as well. So it can get very complex. Yeah. So you can see how this is actually like very practical, right? Like this makes sense, right? I can understand, you can understand why as a magician, this would be really important, right? Because if you're going to do ritual magic, you need to bring things into the ritual that are representative of what you want to invoke. So a lot of Wiccans use these without necessarily knowing about correspondence tables specifically. S tier like Uriel, I don't invoke a lot of angels. Hi, Dairai. Hi, thank you very much for the raid. You enjoying some phasmophobia? Not everyone gets a rare Pokemon or angels, true. That's very true. Hi, guys. We're talking about occultism. We're talking about this book, right? So I hope you were geared up for that. I hope you had fun playing Phasmophobia. I hope you had a good stream. Raiders, hi, I'm your mom. We're reading this book. So you guys can see, we're talking about correspondences. Hi, Plus Becca, good to see you. We're talking about magical correspondences, which are connections between different concepts for the purpose of doing like magical rituals and things. And so we just spent a bunch of time going over this guy's like theory of a bunch of stuff. And it all sort of boils down to how these correspondences work. Seems like super complicated version of color theory. Oh my God, double raid. Hi, Marducky, hi. Hello. Hi, Raiders, welcome. Here, I'll hold off for a minute. We'll say hi to all the Raiders, and then I'll catch us all up, and then we'll continue. We did excellent. I'm so glad you had a good time. Hi, Ducky, hi. Hi, guys, I'm your mom, and we are reading a book about occultism and getting annoyed. Oh, my God. I mean, hi. Holy balls! Triple raid! Oh my God!
Adamine_XO is raiding with 14 viewers.
Hi! Hi, Squeaky Ducky. Thank you very much for the raid. Oh my God! Did you guys coordinate this?
Squeaky__Ducky is raiding with 10 viewers.
Holy guacamole! Thank you very much for the follow, Marducky. You pulled the High Priestess. The High Priestess reminds you that sometimes the thing that needs work is yourself, and you deserve it. You deserve to take good care of yourself. Thank you very much for the follow. Of course not. Oh my gosh. Who's this? This is Shushikami. Thank you very much for the follow. I hope I pronounced that right. You pulled the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man reminds you that sometimes there are no obviously better choices, but that doesn't mean that there's a good choice. There's not a good choice. Follow your heart. You're going to do great. I appreciate you. Thank you again for the follow. And Adamine. Thank you. Adamine. Thank you very much for the follow. You pulled the Lovers. Lover remind you that communication is the basis of a great relationship. So talk to your people. Thank you very much for the follow. And Abrisworks. Thank you for the follow. You pulled the Fool. The Fool reminds you that sometimes being spontaneous is good, but sometimes it can be dangerous, so take care of yourself. Thank you for the follow, Eld Magnuson. You pulled the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that things do be changing. So if you don't like the way it is, just wait, because it's going to change. Thank you again for the follow. Thank you, Felgrand the Dragon. You pulled the Fool also, which also reminds you that being spontaneous can be a little risky. So just watch where you're going. You're going to be just fine. Thank you again for the follow. Playing Phasmo and looking for someone to raid. Suggested you immediately. Oh, thank you. Having a great time. Things are so normal here. Blaze Kitsu, thank you very much for the follow. You build the Hierophant. The Hierophant reminds you that sometimes you need advice from somebody with a little bit more experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. Take good care of yourself. Thank you for the follow. Anybody else? Hello. Yes, we're doing Raiders. Allow me to explain what is happening here. We are reading a book about magic, and I am talking about the theories in the book, and we're complaining about it. Also, somehow, Dolphin Jesus. Yeah. So right now we're talking about magical correspondences, which I will explain again a little bit for you guys. Yeah. Learning about magic. We are. Yeah, and I streamed for 3 hours. I didn't even realize it. I like to complain a little more than I probably should. But yes, Raiders, thank you very much for visiting. Thank you, Squeaky Ducky and Marducky and Dirai Bits. And there's one I'm missing, isn't there? Adamine. And also, Adamine, thank you very much, everyone, for coming for the raid. I appreciate you. And thank you, Babbit, for the follow. You build Temperance. Temperance reminds you that difficult things can happen. But you're also strong and very capable. I appreciate you. You're going to do great. Take good care of yourself. Thank you. I've seen your YouTube. Oh my God. I hope you like my YouTube videos. You don't actually complain too much. I'm trying to be nice. And also I expected this to be less insane, but I shouldn't have. Dolphin Jesus, I'm interested. Well, Raiders, if you need to do some lurking, or if you need to go and do some self-care or anything like that, please don't hesitate to do that. But of course, you guys are always extremely welcome to hang out. Bum, bum, ba-da. Shall I catch you up, Raiders? Would you like to know what's going on in this book? Okay, so we're talking about the concept of magical correspondences. And magical correspondences work like this. So I've made you this little chart to explain what's going on. So we have two kinds of things. Thank you for the lurk and to grab some food. I hope you enjoy your beautiful food. And thank you again for the raid. Appreciate you. So there are things that you can see with your eyeballs. And there are things that you cannot see with your eyeballs, right? There is a section of things that is hidden from you, okay? And in the realm of things you can see, there are things that are connected by a thread that goes through the realm of things that you are not able to detect, right? So the color yellow in magic theory, the color yellow and the direction east are connected, and they're connected by a thread which is not detectable by you. Their connection exists in a place that you are not able to detect. Again, this is like a magical theory. Exactly how you feel about this may depend on your own sort of like, system of spiritual belief and understanding, but that's the concept. So here's an example of a correspondence table. Magicians love to make long lists of shit. And so we have the sun, which is associated with the color orange, which is associated with sunflowers, which is associated with the metal gold, which is associated with the gem topaz, which is associated with the perfume of saffron. Okay, so if you want to do a ritual where you invoke the sun, you could use the color orange, or a topaz stone, or the smell of saffron. Right? So you can construct a ritual that uses different attributes of these celestial bodies by invoking them, by using things that they are corresponded to. Now, costs a lot of gold back then, so it makes sense. I mean, that does make some kind of sense. So you can kind of imagine that these columns in the table are built up over time based on people's experience and their spiritual and cultural understanding of things, etc., so on and so forth. And so that is where we are at in this book, talking about all this. Let me see if I can find my good spot. So we're pretty low down. Yeah, here we are. We were here talking about correspondences. The inclination that they run on vibes is a pretty good one. There's a lot of vibes in magic. Curious, how do we know that they're connected if we can't perceive the connection? Not saying they aren't, just curious how we know. Vibes, basically. The magicians will say that like the connections make sense, and that like if you're experiencing multidimensional thinking and you do ritual magic, then it will become clear to you. Will it become clear to you? It's vibes. That's why, like I say, for example, with the tarot, which has a lot of symbolism in it, like you can look at a lot of the symbols and the correspondences or like the connections make sense, right? Like the fool is about to fall off a cliff. So he's in a precarious situation. You know what I mean? He's looking at like a thing in his hand, and he's looking at the thing in his hand instead of looking at the cliff. He's not paying attention. Like all of these symbols, these make some kind of sense. Oh my God, Nana Lovebug is here too. Raiders, hi again. This is literally a quadruple raid. Bananas. Thank you very much for the raid, Nana Lovebug. Hi, you guys. We're talking about magic. How you guys doing? Vibes, higher vibrations, because everything is vibrating right now. Yeah, those kind of vibes are also going to come into it. I wonder if some synesthesia was involved. For some of the occultists, definitely. Speaking of talking about falling off a cliff, oh my God. Oh, hey, I got sent here twice. Well, welcome. Hello there, Joe. Hi. I think it's 5 raids in 10 minutes. It literally, I think, is. Twice a person, Riley. You're special. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Lovebug, I hope you had a great stream. Wait, what were you doing? Streaming some art. I hope your art turned out great. I hope you had a good time. Thank you very much for the follow. J.K. Carrier. You pulled the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that things do be changing. They do be changing. Yeah. I want to share my little gang with you, dope QB. Well, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. Nana's always doing some art. True. I was watching a Fran, Adamine. And she also raided. True. Yes, I do think it actually has been like 5 raids. The Penta raid. That's gotta be magic. Don't worry about Uncle Jimmy and his nut. He's fine. Yes. But yes. So we're talking about some magic. We're reading this book. We're having a good time. Also, Dolphin Jesus. Drawing and watching some Sailor Moon. Oh, I think that's what you guys said you were doing last time. I hope it was a beautiful time. Thank you. Nana, if you need to do some self-care, please do. If you would like to hang out, of course, you're very welcome. So many raids for real. Can you guys hear the baby? I think anal magic was just sufficiently short that I didn't hear it. Or maybe the music is loud. Who knows? Y'all are crazy. All right. So we're talking about magical connections. This book is called Magic, an Occult Primer. And it's by this guy, David Conway. And at the other side of this book, there's this lady here. Is this Yoshi's music? No, this is music by an artist called Mort Garrison. Garrison. And it's from an album called Music from Patchcord Productions. Yeah, it's just weird, ooky spooky synth music from the 70s, so I thought it was a good fit. We out here thriving. Defacon for sure. Where am I? I went too far. Now I went too far the other way. We were here. So we're talking about the connection between things. Okay, this is good because this is a recap for us and a good recap for the Raiders. So the author of this book has spent a lot of effort to prove that everything is connected. And this part of the situation, the things we cannot see, are why he did that effort. So for the Raiders who just showed up, we have this connection between the color yellow and the direction east. We can see the color yellow and we can see the direction east, but there's a dimension of things that we cannot detect where there's a thread that connects these two things. And this is a big idea in magic, and this is what this guy is trying to prove. Somebody asked, I think it was Between Boundary asked, what's over here in the I can't see it column? And mostly it's vibes. So there you have it. So he spent all this energy like proving that nature has like a body and that everything is living, and because that is the connection he's going to insist keeps all these things together and makes correspondences make sense, right? So he says, in magic, we're here at the top. In magic, the underlying similarity between things is systematized by identifying certain correspondences between them. From time immemorial, magicians have sought to establish the natural affinity that exists between certain planets, metals, jewels, birds, beasts, herbs, colors, flowers, and scents, and also certain, like vibes. The sun is about power and leadership. The moon is about secrets and lady things. And they're all connected. It's all connected by vibes. My note here, that is a lot of connections, dog. And I agree with myself yet again. He talks about how this has like been a big undertaking, and some of the correspondences might make sense to you and some of them might not, but it doesn't matter, okay? Because sometimes they're explaining something that's just out of your reach, and there's sometimes you don't know the reason why things are connected, but they just are. Always agreeing with herself like that. True, but somebody's got to agree with me. Okay. He mentions medieval occult texts. They're real. They're hard to read. They have long lists of correspondences. I hate them. But there you have it. They're foundational. So if you want to understand occultism on like a deep level, you do got to read them. Probably talking about Agrippa over here, whatever. And he says, the most important, here, purple highlight, the most important of the universal correspondences are those that exist between ourselves and God. Shocking that's what he thinks. Shocked that's what he thinks. Connected by vibes. Sounds like string theory. That is so generous of you. That is an extremely generous thing to say. I would venture, probably not. Like, I see where you're coming from, though, because the strings, and the loops, and they do be vibrating, and that's what makes all the particles and things. I hear you. 100% there are cultists in the year of our Lord 2023 who think that that's what's going on. But do I think that that's what's going on? No. Mostly because I'm tired. He spent this whole time explaining how magic is connected to evolution and God isn't real, only to tie it back by saying that it's actually God. Yeah. He's like, oh, it's not Christian God. It's like nature. Okay, pal. Although we know well enough that man is no more than a product of natural evolution, we must nevertheless accord him a special place within the scheme. Here we are, ladies. Dudes, be special. That's the most important part of every occult text. That is the fundamental idea that you need to take away from this. Nothing else matters, because the real tea is that the boys are special. They're special, and they're different from plants, and they're different from animals, and they're different from rocks. And how are they different? What makes them different? God. Because we can talk to God. We can talk to God because we can think thoughts, and we can think thoughts because evolution isn't an accident. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are we picking it up? We keep the God in our balls. Oh, God. I wonder if NASA had an occultist on staff to work with all the lunar correspondences for the Apollo 13 mission. Maybe. I just put why. Why? Who knows? Okay. So how do we do the magic then. If we have the core, you would assume, okay, I know what you're thinking, chat. I can hear your thoughts because I am that powerful. I know what you're thinking in there. You're thinking, but mom, if I have the magic instructions and I have the magic tables of correspondences, okay, can't I just like burn the right incense? And bada boom, bada bing, Angel Gabriel shows up. And I'm like, do you want to crack open a cold one? And he says, yes. Magic done, right? I don't need to learn about like, I don't need to like train my body or my mind. I just have the capacity already to like get up in there and use the instructions to do magic. I know that's what you're thinking, but you would be wrong. You would be incorrect, okay? Because, I just slapped the mic. You would be wrong because you have to like open your pussy chakra and let the magic vibes correspond with you. Obviously, it's never enough. Hi, Scuba Duck. Thank you for the wigglers. Thanks for the sub and supporting mom. Appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate it, Alvis. Thank you very much for that. And thank you, Scuba Dog. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy your gift sub. Obviously, the magic fires directly out of the pussy. Exactly. I arrived for the chakra. Timing is everything. Don't worry. Before there was the pussy chakra, there was anal magic. So you're right on time, okay? We have plenty of orifices, and they're all very open. So yeah, he's going to be like, oh, the macrocosm, the microcosm, so above, so below, the infinities. Oh, how are we doing it? How are we achieving magical nirvana? Okay, we need to cultivate forces already latent within himself as us, ourselves. For they are, of course, the same as those that regulate our world and propel the furthermost star. We are have inside of us all of the forces that are in the universe. And all we need to do in order to do magic is open the pussy chakra and let them in. So now we need to make another connection. Okay, what did I walk back into? Don't worry, everything is going to become clear. Okay, how do we get the vibes? Where are the vibes? Where are the vibes located? How do we access them? It is concepts, it's thoughts, it's imagination. So here he's talking about high-speed gas and Mr. Therm and some other ideas. Basically, what he's trying to say here in this section is that ideas are what's powerful. Thoughts are what's powerful. You are able to think, therefore you are. And in order to do magic, you need to do thinking really good. Okay. He claims that nobody knows anything about the forces that connect the correspondences. He claims that it's so mystical and so magical and so mysterious, but really he knows exactly what he wants. What he's going to say is that you got to imagine things really good and then you can do magic. Okay. How far are we down this chapter? We still have quite a bit to go. I don't know if I want to get into this here or later, but it's worth it to identify that he's going to try to set himself up for success later. And he is going to claims here that there's nothing bad and there's nothing good. There is no positive and there's no negative. There is only balance, okay? So he's trying to claim that the opposing positive and negative forces in the universe don't have anything to do with a moral judgment, and that negative things are not bad and positive things are not good. And it's just about everything working out and all these vibes and all this kind of stuff, right? And don't worry about it. He's very insistent that it's both the positive and negative forces that come together to form the true likeness of God. But do you know why he's doing this, chat. Okay? I say I hate it here, and there's a very clear reason. He is making this argument here early on because later what's going to happen is positive forces are going to be associated with men. And just to clarify, specifically dongers, and negative things are going to be associated with ladies, specifically the ussy. And he is going to say that the negative traits associated with women are not bad. It's not bad. We're not saying bad things about women. Okay. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. To his credit, this concept is not coming from him, but it doesn't solve the problem. So he's just trying to set himself up so that later he doesn't look like a douche. Male light, female void. Oh, it's very that. It is very much that. It's not coming from the exact same place as it's not that exactly, but it is that. We're in the same neighborhood. He's going to say some crazy claims about periods too. He will not, but he will also never acknowledge that that gender is anything but like an infallible, rock solid concept that has direct connections to the function, physical form, and like soul of the God of the universe. He is going to claim that feminine and negative forces are part of the fabric of the universe. So he's not going to say that being non-binary is fake. He's just going to imply it by never talking about it. So yeah. So that's, I guess, a trigger warning. He's not going to say that trans people aren't real. He's never going to make that claim. But like a necessary part of his system is that men and women are fundamentally different, that they have access to fundamentally different forces, and that like they are both necessary for things to work. So there you have it. Yeah. It kind of feels bad, man. And like, we are probably not going to get there today, you guys, because we are not going to get all the way through this chapter and through to the next one. But to give you a little bit of a spoiler, like the Kabbalistic tree of life, okay, has like two sides, and one side is associated with feminine stuff and one side is associated with masculine stuff. And literally, he is going to say that some of these negative traits include things like destruction. And some of the positive traits include things like creation, which is really weird because I've never seen a dude make a baby, but that's whatever, okay? Creative impulse were two principles, one active and the other passive. Male and female, they have become twin forces in our universe. So it's just stupid and it's gross and it annoys the fuck out of me. I don't fucking like it. It bothers me. And I hate that he goes all the way back an entire chapter in the middle of a totally separate argument to bring it up. Well known for his emphasis on the need for a negative as well as a positive element in life, because the first of these discards the old and the second ushers in the new. Progress is possible only when they act together. This synthesis between the two is the goal of the dedicated magician who, having experienced and mastered all things, becomes the complete man, a true likeness of God. This man is alive. True. He is alive in the year of our Lord 2022, as far as I know. And like, this is also a very core idea in occultism. This idea that you can like do some steps and work on some shit and you can become God. You can kill and dethrone God. So yeah. So I just thought I would take a moment to rant about that because I hate it. So here's a good note. You know this is going to be a good one because I just said, is that what you're going to do to me? Power that is used in magic derived from the forces we have been describing, and so comes from within and outside ourselves. It is formed by linking one aspect of the magician's personality with a corresponding aspect of the cosmic mind. So in order to do magic, you need to reach out inside your brain and you need to hold God's hand. You got to hold it gently like a hamburger. He insists that you need to make sure you do all the rituals properly and exactly the way he lays them out because, of course, just like all occultists, he's going to be like, ooh, it's dangerous if you're not careful. Okay. All right. Sure. Magic can be dangerous when tampered with. In the beginning of this chapter, we compared man to a glorified monkey, and we have finished by likening him to God. Yeah, it's kind of weird, and there's not really a good through line, but thanks for your try. Appreciate you. Only as we learn more about the psychosomatic origin of many diseases are we slowly begin to realize how powerful thoughts can be. So in this section, he's talking about how it's mind over matter, baby. It's mind over matter. It's all about manifestation. It's all about thoughts, okay? You make the thoughts and it makes things real. And sometimes you make yourself sick by just imagining stuff. So if you just stop imagining it, then you would get better. Again, I really do not think this is a good cure for like IBS. But go off, sis. Many seems too strong. I agree. So, as I previously mentioned, his claim is that thoughts are what makes up the universe and that vibes are the fundamental building block of everything. So here in this section, he is going to basically be like, oh yeah, by the way, you can make your thoughts real. Your thoughts are real. They have energy. They have tangible, measurable energy, and you can use it to do shit. Where are my $1 million? Literally, please. Doesn't do much when your gut's inside out. For real, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, if I have tummy hurt, am I supposed to just, like, manifest it feeling better by, like, not thinking about it? That's not going to work. Here's another thing I really want to mention, okay? This guy is going to go on for basically the rest of the first part of this book, explaining how thoughts are the most important thing in the entire world. That thoughts are powerful. That thoughts make things real. That if you think about something long enough, it will become real. And he's going to describe a mechanism for how that works in the next chapter. He's going to describe how your thoughts turn into real things, okay? Here he's talking about like imprinting thoughts on the etheric planes and like how that's how things get traveled up into the collective unconscious and all this stuff. And like, as a person who has a lot of thoughts that I don't want, it always really distresses me when people try to make the thoughts inside of my brain the most important part of me. Because what it does is it makes me responsible for every single thing that my brain comes up with. And not just in a, hey, you thought that's, you have to correct the way you think about stuff. But also in like a, hey, you are making real bad things happen by thinking about them. Do you see what I mean? It attaches a lot of guilt and potentially a lot of guilt and shame to something that is completely untangible and has no effect on how the real world works. Like, if I go through my life thinking that I manifest things to be real and people in my real life get hurt, it's not that far of a stretch to imagine that I hurt them by not thinking positively enough. That if I get really sick, that I made myself sick by not thinking positively enough. And I just want to disavow that very clearly right now. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not you. You do not make things real by thinking about them. You are not responsible for making sure that your mind is clean and pure and full of good things all the time. It is not your responsibility to police the way you think about things in order to make sure that things are okay. And thinking about things that are bad or mean or upsetting does not make you a bad person. None of the thoughts you think in your brain can make you a bad person. The things that actually affect the real world are things you actually do and not just things that are in your mind. All right. Thoughts and prayers is not a good way to go about things. It's not even just about thoughts and prayers. Like, fine, if you want to pray for somebody and that brings you some like spiritual fulfillment and you think it's helpful for that person to know that they're in your thoughts, that can be good. But you cannot pray things away any more than you can pray them to become real. You cannot hurt yourself by thinking mean thoughts, and you can't hurt anybody else. I just think that really needs to be said, because he is going to, and this is part of what I had said earlier, way at the beginning of the stream, about like sometimes magic is bad for your mental health, because this is not a concept that comes from David Conway, who wrote this book. This is a strong concept in a lot of occultism and magic. It's the way The Secret works. It's the way like manifestation boards work. It's the way a lot of like meditation and shit works. The idea that you can make things real by thinking them. And like, I'm not saying that the way you think cannot affect anything in your life. Obviously, if you spend all your time thinking miserable thoughts, you might not be a very happy person. But I just want to make it very clear that like this manifestation idea is not accurate. Zipped by Alistair, swung past Norman, and landed on The Secret like a catalog of 20th century woohoo. Oh, that is very much his intention, J.K. Carrier. This is his plan. He is trying to collect the ideas together for us. Hi there, Gay Cheeto Puff. Hello, how are you? So he's saying thought forms are extremely important, that you can manifest things, you can make them real. You just have to think about them. He I guess, gives a little bit of a caveat, because he's not thinking about like he's not imagining that you just have a passing thought and it becomes true. He's talking about like intentional, specific thoughts, and he's talking about like priming yourself to be able to think the correct way in order to make this kind of thing happen. So Des thought it was true, and it led me into a lot of despair. So I really dislike it. I'm okay right now. I'm glad that you're doing better. Thank you for the self-care break. This is a very prevalent idea in a lot of Christian communities. This idea that if you are just thinking happy thoughts, thinking pure thoughts, if you're walking with the Lord, if you're doing all this kind of stuff, that you will be happy and everything will be fine. And that if you are sick or you're unhappy or bad things are happening, it's because you're not like praying hard enough, you're not connecting yourself, And like, there are a lot of religious leaders that will go down a literal physical list of shit that you did wrong. Oh, did you steal anything? No. Okay. Oh, did you run in the hallways? No, you didn't. Oh, are you pleasuring yourself? Oh, no, you're not. Oh, did you eat anything forbidden? Oh, no, you didn't. Then what's wrong is your brain. You're thinking bad thoughts. Something is impure, and since I can't identify it out here, it must be inside of you. What a fucked up thing to tell people. Ugh. Pisses me off a lot. Okay. Next news. For real, it's so bad, and it is all over this shit. All right. So here we go. Here he's going to explain to us a little bit. Up here, perhaps the best illustration of the occultist view of thought is by means of the overworked comparison with a radio wave. All right, bestie, explain it to me. The brain becomes a broadcasting studio from which a thought radiates. Wow, okay. We become aware of radio waves only when they are picked up and densified by a suitable receiver, but they exist nonetheless. All the receiver has done is make them accessible to our senses, just as a printed verses express to a poet, just as printed verses express a poet's vision in the form others can appreciate. The theory that thoughts, like radio waves, are imprinted on the ether is not without scientific foundation. Citation needed. There is a plane above us. It is a plane of thoughts only. And when you think things, they come out of your brain and they are stamped on the ether. And he is going to make the argument a little bit later that essentially the stronger your thought is, the more enduring it is on this ether, on the astral plane, essentially. And he's gonna connect it a bit later. He's gonna explain that it is in fact the astral plane and that there are different levels of it. And here you go. Look at it. There he is. It is your boy, Carl Jung. Take a shot. Take a shot for Carl Jung mention. 90% porn, kind of like the internet. I think you're right, to be honest. He cites a source, the third source he's ever cited, and it is the Journal of Parapsychology. What a source. What a choice to source that particular source. Nice job. The universe is populated by mental images. Now, this is also interesting to note because he's very insistent that the thoughts that exist in this other plane of existence are visual. Okay, they have character. They have color, they have smell, they have taste, they have texture. They are primarily visual thoughts. Okay, and this was really interesting to me when I was reading this because Buddy doesn't think in pictures because he can't, because Buddy has aphantasia. He doesn't see things in his mind's eye at all. And this guy just cannot fathom it. And later, we'll get there when we get there, but later you guys are going to see what he thinks of people who are not able to picture things in their mind's eye. I'm interested, if you're in chat, let me know, can you picture an apple in your mind? Can you close your eyes and see an apple in your mind's eye? Just got here. What's being stamped onto the ether? Your thoughts, babe, every single one. Yes. I can. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I see nothing, 10 being a perfect apple that I can rotate in my mind, I would say my apple's like a 9, a solid 9. I also subvocalize, which is related, but not necessarily connected. I read things aloud in my brain, and Buddy does not do that. My apple is CGI looking, vibey. Carrier says, sure. Yeah. So if you're in chat and you don't see things in your mind's eye, that's actually normal. Some people just can't. Dolphin Jesus tells all. True. Factual. I mean, if thought forms are real, we are making Dolphin Jesus as real as he could possibly be. So yeah, so this is his idea about being able to have mental images that go up into the astral plane. They stay there. Powerful thoughts impose their particular imprint on the astral, while weaker ones blend in with related aspects. So if your thought is weak, it just gets combined into other ideas and they glom together to make something more powerful. But if you have a very strong thought, then it stands on its own. Fine. Talks a little bit about the collective unconscious. Of course, we love that. Fortunately for us, therefore, the independent existence of thought is also confirmed by the phenomenon of telepathy. And you're probably thinking, wow, I would love for him to elaborate on what he thinks telepathy is. He will not. He says there's evidence of telepathy that is so impressive that it merits serious consideration. I just wrote, help me. It's been scientifically demonstrated. Another source, not a very good one. Another source here. So he's citing some sources. Okay. He talks about statistics a little bit. He gets into it. His sources are shit. This is basically garbage. We can move on from that. Okay. So this is another important concept because remember, this first couple chapters, we're trying to build his theory of magic. So this is another important concept. What happens when you become #died? died of it, dead. Well, everybody, your thoughts are real. They are real. They are physically real. So when you die, the combination of thoughts that are you, they just go to the astral plane and they stay there, already all connected together exactly the way they were when you were alive. That's what he has to say for it. He says, an exact replica of ourselves is built up in thought form on the astral planes, or if you prefer, the psychic ether. So again, he's connecting these concepts. Before he was calling it the ether. Now he's saying it's the astral planes. For him, these are two of the same thing. I think that he's imagining that somebody might find it difficult to like be okay with saying the astral plane because he's still under the delusion that we are doing this with a scientific lens and imagining it from a scientific place. Okay, sure, Janet. I know that you just want to call it the astral plane, just like you wanted nature to be God earlier. Just have some cojones and say what you want to say. You're full of shit no matter what, but you might as well be full of shit with confidence. Please. Is it me or is it a clone? I think he thinks it's you. But it does sound like a clone, right? Because he says a replica. But I think also his implication is that it's exactly accurate every single moment of your life, because every single time you have a single additional thought, it is added to the version of you that's like up there on the astral plane. I saw this in a Doctor Strange comic once. What a great source. I love Doctor Strange. He's so cool and fun. He has all the best first-hand occult knowledge. Came out around the same time, so maybe. I mean, occultism was really popular, so I wouldn't be that surprised if if he was aware. He says the fact, here we are, we're right here, the fact that, right here, the fact that the physical self is usually asleep when bilocation occurs suggests that the consciousness may sometimes be transferred from the physical body to the astral counterpart. With practice, the transference can be made voluntarily and becomes known as astral projection. So he's saying here, oh, you go to bed and then you do your astral plane backup. Your memory backup happens while you're asleep and you're relaxed. But if you think about it enough, then you can leave your body whenever you want. If you get good, if you #get good. If you're a real gamer, you can do it whenever you want. But sometimes people need to practice. And he says in chapter 8, he's going to give us specific instructions on how to do it. Once again, if you're the kind of person who can dissociate really easy, this is probably a bad exercise for you to do, because what he's literally telling you to do is to leave your body behind and go to somewhere else, somewhere slightly further away from you. So if you're the kind of person who has had that experience where you're like behind yourself seeing a thing happen to you, yeah, this is probably poison for your brain. But there you have it. Astral plane is all I get all the bitches. Coral. I'm now part Kardashian in the astral plane. There you have it. I think this book came out around the same time. Oh yeah, okay, we talked about that. Here we are. There we go. We've made it to the end. The astral plane is its own being, independent of your physical body, and it has its own existence, and it survives your physical death. He says this is true for anything, but in particular is true for human people who are, of course, very special and have the best and most thick thoughts. The thickest thoughts that ever were thunked, okay? And those thick thoughts become a thick thigh, which exists in the astral plane, where you can go visit if you get good. Is everybody picking up what I'm putting down? Are we all on the same page? And that is the next phase of your existence, to be the thick thoughts with the thick thigh in the astral plane. Great. Big thoughts, and I cannot lie, the best thoughts, huge. My whole issue with all this is that he specifically said earlier how the soul isn't real. Literally. But now he's literally saying that you have a soul because it's on the astral plane. Oh, wow. So now shockingly, Boundary has found it. He contradicts himself again. He says that dualism is fake. Where is it? It's up here somewhere. Oh my God. And also he says that, okay, but this is another thing actually that I'm just thinking of now. I didn't think of this before. Where is it? Oh my gosh, I lost it. Oh, here, where he says that dead matter is basically the same as living matter and all this other shit. Why can't I just go back in my body then, bitch? What happens? You telling me rocks have all these atoms going around and that means that they're alive, but I can't go back in my body? Maybe he thinks I can. To be honest, I haven't gotten, I've just finished part 1. So like in my own reading. So what's Satan been collecting all this time? Great question. That's a great question. And I don't have an answer for you. And I don't think he does either. Thoughts and prayers. Some Dr. Manhattan shit. Living bodies and dead ones contain the same particles. They do, but like I said this earlier. And listen, my area of expertise may not be occultism specifically, but my area of expertise is chemistry. And the fact of the matter is, we can tell that you're dead because the chemistry that keeps you alive has stopped happening. You don't say the same temperature anymore. You don't make pee, okay? Like you don't do the things that living things do. So there's like a very clear distinction between things that are dead and things that are alive. So just having all the same Legos, it's not the same. Everybody knows that. I use the Legos to make a house. I use the Legos to make a truck. Those bitches are not the same. Alas, here we are. So he said that we have no soul, but we do have a thought projection in the astral plane. Okay. He says here, even so, our astral bodies, like the incarnate personalities from which they are derived, are really no more than an outward expression of ourselves. With time, they too must shed, so that only the individual self, a spark of consciousness, which is the quintessence of so many personalities, is left. So like your body is a shell, man. Your meat suit is keeping you locked in to the physical plane, dude. But if you can leave it behind, then you could do like anything. And he just throws this in here for spice. If it still has karmic debt, it can return. Again, I don't know why I can't just go back in the same body, but if I have karmic debt, I do be coming back. As a worm? As a worm? Is that what you're saying? You're telling me I'm going to come back as a worm. So what you're saying is if I was a worm, if I turned into a worm, you would still love me. Great. That's perfect. Great. If, on the other hand, the individual has no further cause to return to the world, he is free to proceed on the path of spiritual evolution, which leads eventually to the sublime, yet conscious, union with God's true self. Got it. So you do, in fact, kill and dethrone God. What? I don't want that. Go away. Oh, okay. I fixed it. Don't worry, buddy won't eat you if you're a worm. I guess not. And that's the first chapter. The second chapter is all astral plane all the time. He's going to explain how we get there. He's going to explain what happens to your thoughts that are up there. He's going to explain how the hierarchies work because, of course, it's occultism, so we got to have hierarchies. Hierarchies are very important. Okay, some things are better than others, and you can't convince him otherwise. Okay, he's gonna talk about Kabbalah. He is gonna talk about God some more. He's gonna give us some big long quotes. Here he's gonna explain the tree of life and all the paths on the tree of life and how you get there. He's gonna go on and on and on, and then he is going to try to give us some important. This is old because I have read more than this. Yeah, I've read further down into like chapter 4, but whatever. He's going to explain how, how you're going to do the damn thing, babe. How you are going to, get good and be able to kill and dethrone God eventually. Yeah. And then in okay, so later on in chapter 3, he is going to explain also how to do necromancy and a bunch of other shit. And he's also going to use some very rude words for Native Americans. So that's exciting. Great. Does anybody have any questions about this so far, about all this nonsense? Should I draw a diagram of where we're at? Because I feel like that would be helpful. So like the way it works is that 1, evolution happened. 2, man made himself by the process of evolution. 3, homies do be thinking. Everything is thinking all the time. Because 4, everything is alive. And because everything is alive, it means that it is all part of God. Yeah. And because everything is part of God, everything is connected. And because everything is connected, we can do magic. And because everything is connected and we can do magic and God is everything and thinking is a fundamental part of the universe, astral plane is real and you go there if you think hard enough. That's what we learned today. He tried really hard to connect them all in a scientific way. And in my opinion, he completely failed. He provided absolutely no evidence of any of this. He didn't even cite a single anecdotal account of any of this being real. Okay? Yeah. And then 9, question mark, profit. Profit by writing a book about it. Damn. Is the astral plane part of God? Yes. God is real and physical. He's reachable and talk toable, and you do it by thinking really hard. And then if you think really hard in the right way about the right things, and you become God. Yeah. You are like God in that you can think really good. Like other homies do be thinking, but we be thinking the most best. Because what, ladies? What is the most important news of all of this? Boys are special. This is the tea. And don't you forget it. Okay? Do not you ever forget it. The boys are special. Okay? Okay? Can I not highlight things? Opaque. Ah, there we are. That's what I want. The boys are special. The boys are special. They're different. They're different than worms and all kinds of things. The boys are special. The most important tea in all of occultism. Spain's like Morgan Freeman was God in that one Jim Carrey movie. True. He's got the best big brain thoughts. Well, everybody, this was a 4-hour long stream. I did not expect it to take this long to get through this chapter, but I can't shut my mouth. Also, Dolphin Jesus, once again, was a little bit of a distraction. I hope you guys found this entertaining. I hope you found it interesting. I hope so. Praying for both of us. We're here for your mouth unshut. Well, you're very welcome because I gave you plenty of that. It was very informative. I'm glad that you thought so. I was going to raid Rainy, but Rainy's been going for 7 hours. Thank you for the teaching. In a way, we're learning together. That was a ride for sure. It definitely is. The next chapter is going to make less sense. I don't know how to break it to you guys, but chapter 2 is going to make less sense. Definitely. Yeah. I learned a lot. I hope that you feel so. I hope you feel that you have learned. I hope you feel like, yeah, like there was something here to be gained. Next chapter is a 40-hour stream. Better not be. How can it make less sense? Oh, because he doesn't even try to connect it. That's my impression of it. That's my memory of it, is that he really goes into some higgledy-piggledy nonsense in the next chapter. Yeah, his connections are pretty loose. More so what not to do. Yeah, I would agree with that. Hi, Aphanium. How are you doing? We're just wrapping up. We're wrapping up, baby. Lampy streaming. Basil streaming? Luna Miria streaming. Oh... Who should we raid, perhaps? Made me want to reread Promethea. Oh, my. Yeah, that tracks. Alan Moore is definitely on this gig, can't lie. Learn about the pussy and the anus magic. I mean, that's also accurate. That's true. I don't know. Does anybody have a suggestion for a raid target? Sen is live, but I feel like we raided Sen not too long ago. Oh, should we raid Riri? Oh my lord, Riri has been live for 8 hours. As long as the Pikmin don't unionize. Do you think he seems to still be going? Should we raid Riri? Let's do it. We might as well. Might as well. Is Jammy live? No. Oh my god, is he? Okay, hold on. Hold on, nobody move. He is. Okay, he's been going for 4 hours, but he's actually actively playing a game. Beer and puzzles, what could go wrong? Let's raid Jammy. Let's raid Jammy. Seems like it's cherry-picked metaphysical stuff. It's like slightly more coherent than just like cobbled together nonsense. You know, he definitely got it from somewhere, but that doesn't mean that it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Well, you guys, thank you again very much for visiting me. I hope you enjoyed all this, and I look forward to hanging out again with everybody very soon. We're going to be streaming again tomorrow. We're going to be streaming some Elden Ring. So look forward to that. That's all I have to say. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a beautiful night, and I will see you again very soon. Ooh, I have raid messages for you if you'd like them. There you go. Next week, the astral plane. More of it. Excellent. All right. So you guys